It's a beautiful night for baseball. And live from Petco Park in San Diego, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Diego Padres in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, Oral Hershiser, and Nomar Garciaparra coming off the 3-0 win over the Padres last night. Couple of notes about Zach Greinke. He is now 3-0 on a 1.35 ERA, 5-0 lifetime against the Padres, 21-1 against the National League West, and following a loss, Greinke merely 23-8 since coming to the Dodgers. And so Brandon McCarthy, who gets a start for the Dodgers tonight, has some big shoes to fill.
He does. He's gone 7 innings once. Greinke's done it twice. Those are the only pitchers who have gone that deep. And when you think about that with the Dodgers, you have to think who's going to come in from the bullpen. Well, the 9th inning might be secure now. Yimi Garcia has really nailed it down. He's had 2 save opportunities, got a save last night. His ERA is below 1. He's faced 33 batters, only given up 3 singles. This 24-year-old rookie has been outstanding. An electric fastball. And let's just hope, Charlie, that tonight the Dodgers are leading and we have a savior that can come in the game.
Garcia with 16 strikeouts, more than any other relief pitcher in the major leagues. Yasiel Puig pulled the hamstring last night. Not in the lineup tonight. Andre Ethier is.
We have talked endlessly about the depth of this Dodger lineup. When a starter goes down, they have the ability to put another starter in there, and that's the case with Andre Ethier. This year, he's been doing it all. He looks healthy. He's swinging the bat extremely well against both righties and lefties, and we know out there in the outfield, he's solid defensively as they come. There was talk about Andre as a potential trade. The Dodgers had 16 games this year. Andre's been a part of 15 of them.
He is batting second in the lineup tonight, a .405 on base percentage. Brandon McCarthy goes for the Dodgers tonight against Ian Kennedy. Back with the lineups and first pitch right after this.
Iago, a perfect opportunity for the Dodgers to guarantee another series win. You win today, the series is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside Petco Park. I'm Alana Rizzo. A couple of lineup notes for you today. Yasiel Puig not in the lineup. It is the 5th game so far in 2015 that Yasiel Puig will miss because of injury, re-aggravating that left hamstring issue that he has. Instead, it will be Andre Ethier in right field, and supposedly he was the 4th outfielder for the Dodgers this season, but Andre Ethier has been incredibly active so far in 2015, having played in 15 of the 16 games so far this season. He is in the 2-hole, and the mystery is over as far as the starter for tomorrow is concerned. In Game 3 for the Dodgers, it will be the veteran right-hander Scott Baker, who is going to be here. Spent most of his career with the Minnesota Twins. Most recently, he was with the Texas Rangers. So John and Jerry back in the studio. It will be Scott Baker opposed by Brandon Morrow for Game 3.
At Petco Park tonight, it would be their 4th of the season after the Dodgers' 3-0 shutout over the Padres last night. And tonight's closed captioning is brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. They're fun since '61. The Padres have taken the field, and here is the Honda starting lineup brought to you by Don Mattingly. It'll be Rollins and Ethier batting second. Of course, Puig's got the hamstring. How long he's going to be out at this point is anybody's guess. Gonzalez and Kendrick and Grandal through the middle of the lineup. Crawford, his first home run of the year last night. Uribe's turned it around lately. He's 10 for 40. Jock Peterson is 10th in the league in on-base percentage and 4th in the league in walks. Brandon McCarthy pitching and batting 9th. against Ian Kennedy.
Speaking of hamstrings, Ian Kennedy making his second start of the season, and in his first start only went 2 1/3 innings after straining the left hamstring. But what you're going to face is a guy who comes at you with a low 90s fastball, curveball cutter, and an excellent changeup. Last year, his changeup ranked among the best as the swing and miss percentage.
30-year-old right-hander out of USC, Huntington Beach, and away we go. The Dodgers at 10-6 have won 8 of their last 11. The Padres at 10-8 have lost 3 in a row. So here's Rollins at 180. 11 for 61. First pitch, we're underway. Low and outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Jimmy with 1 home run, 7 runs batted in, 4 doubles and a triple. Hitless in 4 at-bats last night. The shift is on for him. And he takes low 2-0.
It's a good pitcher for Jimmy to face and to get out of his slump. Somebody who really is not going to overpower you, and if he can be selective and lay off that changeup out of the strike zone, and with this 2-0 count right here, building a nice at bat.
With Ethier on deck and Gonzalez to follow. 2 balls and a strike. Ian Kennedy, 6 feet, 200 pounds. Beginning his 7th big league season, came up with the Yankees in 2007, then to the Diamondbacks, and now in his 3rd season in San Diego. Drilled into right field. There's Matt Kemp, and he can't get it. Rollins with a base hit. The Dodgers are in business.
You talked about him being in a little slump we talked about, but he did an excellent job. This fastball came in on him and he brings his hands in nicely. I mean, when you're feeling like you're struggling at home plate, you look for something positive, and that was definitely a nice positive that he was able to have the hands quick enough to turn on that ball.
So Rollins is aboard, and here is Andre Ethier getting the start tonight. Again, don't know how long Puig is going to be out. Andre 9 for 30 and a 405 on base percentage. Takes high and away, 1 ball and no strikes. In point of service, nobody has been with the Dodgers any longer than Andre Ethier. Next in the pecking order is Clayton Kershaw. Third baseman Will Middlebrooks is about 1/3 of the way towards second base. And Kennedy falls behind 2-0.
Yeah, it is an interesting formation there, Charlie, because he is off the line at third, so you're assuming, okay, he's playing more to pull, but you have your second baseman leaving that big hole over there. Even though they have to be in double play depth, you would still maybe see him in and a couple more steps to his left.
And lots of room in right center for Ethier. And a quick toss to first base. Rollins has stolen 3 out of 4 this year. Dodgers have stolen 6, but they've been caught 7 times. Ethier, a home run and 3 runs batted in. Two balls and a strike. Derek Norris took one off the mask.
We've talked so much about Andre Ethier's sporadic playing time over the last few years, but it's really come because of his lack of production against left-handers. Of all active players, he's 11th among all active players with batting average against right-handers. That's at .303 in his career.
And so Kennedy on 2-1. Quick toss over. Adrian Gonzalez is on deck. And another toss. They're preoccupied now with Jimmy Rollins.
Kennedy trying to make that really quick move over there as he comes set, and he doesn't have the ball in his hand, so he has to reach in the glove, then cock his arm and throw it over. He could go over a lot quicker if he kept the ball in his bare hand when he went to make that move.
Kennedy falls behind 3-1. He's thrown 8 pitches, 5 balls.
And there's Gonzalez awaiting, with Kendrick to follow. You mentioned about Ethier and facing right-handed pitching. Andre in his career .324 against Kennedy. Now 3-2.
Well, they're definitely pitching to the defense right here, staying hard away to Andre, where they have the third baseman over there in the 6 hole. Andre got a lot of base hits between the shortstop and the third baseman, but right now that third baseman's plugging that hole.
And a lot of space between Myers in center and Kemp in right. On 3-2, let's see if Rollins goes. There he goes. Fly ball to right field, and just like that, the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead. Only question was, would it stay fair? And it did. For Ethier, his second home run of the year. He has 5 runs batted in, and the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead.
He does an excellent job. He took a good hack at that 3-1 pitch, and then he gets a 3-2 pitch right down the middle. It was a little bit up in the zone. They were pitching him away, but he takes advantage of a mistake.
Well, I mentioned .324 lifetime against Kennedy. That was his 3rd career home run against the former USC Trojan, and here is Adrian Gonzalez.
We continue to see examples of guys that are not normal starters just produce for the Dodgers when they become starters.
Gonzalez at .403, now second in the league. Drills run into the right field corner. That's going to be a base hit. It's going to roll around in front of the jury box, and arriving at second base is Adrian Gonzalez with his 9th double of the year.
I mean, Kennedy pulled his hamstring in the 3rd inning of his first start, now coming back at it, and the Dodgers are greeting him with unfriendly responses right here. Jimmy Rollins a base hit, Andre Ethier the dinger, and Adrian Gonzalez with a 2-bagger.
Well, it's safe to say that Kennedy may not be the most favored opposing pitcher the Dodgers have ever faced, so they're probably getting a good deal of enjoyment as Kendrick takes a strike, 0-1. Kennedy, of course, was involved in a couple of brawls against the Dodgers. Kendrick at .317 with 2 home runs, 10 runs batted in. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. So Ethier serving as Puig's understudy. It's a 2-run shot. For the Dodgers, their 22nd home run of the season. They have the most of any club in the National League. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Howie Kendrick with Yasmani Grandal on deck.
When you go to a Broadway play and in the program they have the little slips of white paper talking about the understudies that are performing certain roles. There's a lot of little pieces of white paper every once in a while in the Dodger lineup, but those white pieces of paper sure put on a beautiful and unbelievable performance.
Kendrick on 1-2. Call, strike 3. Breaking ball, Howie thought it was up and in. Marty Foster, home plate umpire, thought otherwise.
First curveball of the day from Kennedy, and hasn't thrown many pitches. Fastball's been getting hit. He tried a little slider. That one just dropped in the top of the zone.
Now here's Yasmani Grandal, 205, 8 for 39. The former Padre takes a strike, 0-1. Grandal 2 for 3, 2 runs scored last night.
Surprising he took that fastball.
I was talking before the game with our very own David Vassay, and he asked me, he goes, who has more of an advantage? Is it Kennedy because the Dodgers haven't seen him, or do the Dodgers have it because, you know, he's coming off an injury? And I said, listen, if you've already have experience against him, it doesn't matter. You know where his arm slot, where his release point is, so you're familiar with that. I said what the Dodgers need to do is maybe keyhole, because he may be rusty,
And what I mean by that, look for one spot. If he makes a mistake, take advantage of it.
More specifically, Grandal caught Kennedy, who then knows who better. Here's a 2-1, 2-2.
Even if you are familiar with each other because you caught him, you're still going, well, he's still coming off an injury. If he may be struggling with throwing strikes, he may be a little rusty. I don't have to worry about him. Let him prove that he can hit those corners, and let me look at one spot that I know I could really handle and drive and see if he happens to make a mistake there.
Gonzalez with his 9th double of the year, leading off second base, and Grandal swings late and fouls it back. Carl Crawford is on deck.
When you face an old teammate, for a pitcher, it seems like the hardest battle mentally is when you face your old catcher. I feel like they know what's coming.
And do you think they feel a little bit more comfortable in the box because they know you as a,
As long as you had a good relationship,
right,
they feel comfortable.
Right, there you go.
Grandal into left field. That's going to drop in for a hit. Gonzalez held at third by Lorenzo Bundy. The Dodgers have first and third, one man out, and Carl Crawford coming up. Last night, Crawford in the 7th inning with the T-Mobile game changer. For Crawford, it was his first home run of the year. That would help propel the Dodgers to their 3-0 win over the Padres. And immediately, there is a meeting on the mound with the Padres. That's Darren Balsley, the pitching coach, and he's invited everybody in for the conversation.
Well, Ian Kennedy still trying to get his sea legs in this season. Only 2 1/3 innings in that first start before the pulled hamstring, and I'm sure he's out there feeling like a thrower right now, not like a pitcher. When he's throwing strikes, they're pretty much near the middle of the plate. When he's throwing balls, they're balls that are not very competitive.
Crawford is somebody he'd prefer not to see. In his career, Carl Crawford, .352 against San Diego. And .414 against Kennedy. And nearly gets hit.
Going inside, but thinking I'm not going to miss out over the plate where I've been giving up hits. So he forced it in there and spun Carl around.
Uribe on deck with Gonzalez at third and Grandal at first. And Kennedy at 23 pitches. 14 strikes, 9 balls, and seems like he's been pitching from behind here in the first inning. 1-1 to Crawford.
It's a good spot for a pitch because after you go up and in on a hitter, you're geared up to really swing. You say, okay, I'm going to show you, and he throws it in a spot where you think you can catch up to it, and you can't.
4 home runs and 16 runs batted in for Crawford against the Padres in his career. And now he falls behind 1-2.
Got away with one right there. Carl swung right through that pitch. His eyes lit up when he saw that one. Elevated and down the middle.
And in his last 7 games, Carl Crawford has had at least 1 hit against the Padres. 13 for his last 22. That's .591. You'll see another pitch. The Dodgers begin the night a half a game in front of the Rockies, who are entertaining the Giants in Denver. Mattingly's club leading the Padres by 1 in the Western Division. Plenty early to be sure. Crawford into right field. That's going to be a base hit. The numbers don't lie. Gonzalez scores. Grandal rounding third. He's on his way home. Throw to the plate is out at the plate, and Grandal doesn't believe it. Home plate umpire Marty Foster. The Dodgers want to have a look-see, and that's Tim Wallach talking to John Pratt in the Dodgers video room. And here comes Mattingly to talk with Foster. Crew chief Mike Winters trotting in from second base, and there will be a replay.
Well, first of all, Carl does a good job on that breaking ball in the inner half, hitting it down the line, scoring one easily, and then Grandal. Lorenzo Bundy was not hesitating. He was waving him in all the way, and I think he gets that hand in there before the tag. It was a great slide by Grandal. Good relay by the Padres here, but I think he gets that hand in there before that tag. I think those fingers get in there. What do you think, Laurel?
If the fingers are down, it looks like he's safe. Yeah, he looks safe to me by about an inch.
The fickle fingers of fate. We're about to find out from New York.
Grandal did not get a manicure today, so I think he's in there.
And so we await. The umpire who makes the call and the crew chief are the ones who put the headphones on. And they're listening to the folks back in New York who have even more angles than we do. And we'll find out soon enough.
And they keep playing it here in this brand new scoreboard or high def display they have. And you can really see it on that.
I like this angle better. I mean, that looks like the hand goes down right before the glove hits it. It's bang bang like a play at first base with the ball in the foot of the runner, and here it looks like the finger just gets in right there.
Carl Crawford, no matter what, is at third base as Messrs. Foster and Winters have a good long listen from the folks in New York. Grandal immediately thought he was safe, but then again, runners often do. Well, let's see.
Wow.
Not enough to turn it over.
That's not.
So Grandal out at the plate. Crawford with the hit and the RBI. Second out of the inning. The Dodgers have 3 runs and 5 hits, and here is Juan Uribe. Low and outside. 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, you think they must have a different angle than we do here as we're seeing it? Or just not enough?
Just not enough, I guess. Marty Foster and Yasmani are going to have plenty of time to talk about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Uribe swings and misses, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
I'm kind of glad Yasmani was yelling from the bench when the call came down as out, so he could get rid of that adrenaline before he gets behind the plate and tries to coax some strikes out of Marty.
Kennedy's 30th pitch of the inning is low and outside, and it's 2-1. For Crawford, his 3rd run batted in. Grandal is still grumbling on the bench, but the Dodgers have a 3 spot, and Uribe takes low and outside. It's 3 balls and 1 strike.
The interesting thing about the replay system is the call comes from New York, so really the umpires that you're going to go out and be around, as Marty Foster and Yasmani are going to be next to each other for 9 innings, it doesn't matter what they think.
Into right field. Kemp going back. He's there. He's got it. And the inning is over. But the Dodgers come up with 3 on 5 hits, leave 1 for Andre Ethier. A long distance shot down the right field line. His 2nd home run of the year. And the Dodgers are up 3 as we go to the bottom of the 1st. Yasmani Grandal still a bit torqued, having been called out at the plate on a very close play. A replay back in New York upheld the call of home plate umpire Marty Foster. Carl Crawford drove in 1 run with the double. Adrian Gonzalez doubled and scored a run in the inning, and Andre Ethier a 2-run shot. So a good first inning for the Dodgers, and now it's San Diego's turn, and Bud Black's lineup looks like this. Will Myers and Yangervis Solarte at second base. Matt Kemp batting third. Upton has been on base 16 consecutive games against the Dodgers. Then Yonder Alonso hitting .379. Derek Norris behind the plate. Middlebrooks at third. Amarista at short. Ian Kennedy is pitching and batting ninth. And Brandon McCarthy's first pitch to Myers is low and outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Brandon trying to follow up a nice outing he had against Colorado on the 19th. 6 innings and no runs, none earned. Only a couple walks, 6 strikeouts, and those strikeouts are something that he's been racking up a pile of this year. The highest strikeout total he's had at this point in the year in his whole career.
25 strikeouts, 3 walks in 18 innings. That's good news. Bad news is he's also surrendered 6 home runs. First 2 starts, he got cuffed around. Last start, solid. And a call strike to Myers. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
The nice thing for Brandon and the Dodgers, they've won all 3 of his starts this year.
And there's a fly ball to center field. Jock Peterson heading back, way back, and gone, a home run. That has been McCarthy's Achilles heel all year. 18 innings, and now he has surrendered 7 home runs. The Dodger lead 3-1.
Couple of two-seam fastballs with good movement, trying to get to the outside part of the plate. Then he comes back with a breaking ball, and it just lays there in the middle of the plate. The ball is hit a long way on a night like tonight here.
Solarte, the one-time Yankee, takes a strike, 0-1, switch hitting second baseman. He's got a couple of home runs, 9 runs batted in. Well, based on the first now into the 17th game of the season, you're going to watch a Dodger game, you're going to see some home runs. The Dodgers have hit 22 and given up 16. The ball inside to Solarte, 2-1.
Brandon's trying to settle in right here. The pacing of his body language and the way he's going about his business, everything from the way he's tugging on his hat, the way he's getting on the rubber, he's going fast.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Solarte. Ten earned runs in 18 innings given up by McCarthy. Little looper to short. Defensively behind Brandon McCarthy tonight. Crawford and Peterson in left and center. Andre Ethier in right field for the time being. The infield, round up the usual suspects with Uribe and Rollins on the left side and Kendrick and Gonzalez on the right. Grandal behind the plate. Now here comes Matt Kemp, off to a great start. He's second in the league with 25 base hits. And a lot of RBIs with but 1 home run. Here's a strike, 0-1. Mentioned the name last night, Tommy Herr, great second baseman with the Cardinals about 30 years ago. Lined into left field for a base hit, so Kemp's torrid start continues. Tommy Herr in 1985 with St. Louis knocked in 110 runs with 8 home runs. And Kemp with 1 home run and 14 RBIs, but boy, he remains red hot.
I put a small wager on Matt Kemp having over 8 home runs.
And the way he's swinging it right now, I think over 100 RBIs. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what Matt Kemp's first half stats are, because the second half of last year, he was one of the best offensive players in baseball.
Now Justin Upton swings and misses, nothing in one. So McCarthy, who has received an enormous amount of run support from his offense. The lead is now 3-1. Kemp has 2 stolen bases this year. And Yasmani Grandal has thrown out 3 of 9. Former teammates Matt Kemp and Adrian Gonzalez. Upton 286. There goes Kemp. Pitches low. Throw to second base, and he is safe. Kemp now 3 for 3 in stolen bases this year.
Yasmani did a really nice job receiving this ball, and a snap throw to second base. This bag was stolen off of Brandon on the mound. A little slow to the plate. That gave Matt Kemp a good jump, and the time to the plate did not give Yasmani a shot at him. There's nothing a catcher can do if the pitcher takes too long.
Upton now on 1-1. Into right. Ethier's going back. At the wall. He jumps, and it is gone. A home run. Just like that, the Padres are back. It's tied at 3. Now 8 home runs have been given up this year by Brandon McCarthy.
Ball finds the middle of the plate again. Andre Ethier makes a gallant effort just over the edge of his glove, and then the ball just ends up resting on the fence out there in right field. Clearly that ball is out, and clearly it is not fan interference.
A great effort out there by Andre Ethier.
Justin Upton is 2 for 7 in his career against McCarthy, and both of his hits have been home runs. And just like that, we're tied at 3. And Upton has been on base in 17 consecutive games against the Dodgers. Yonder Alonso, 1 ball, no strikes. 1-1. So McCarthy has to just shake it off. Grounded foul past Jose Valentin, first base coach. Alonso off to a great start for the Padres. He's 8th in the league with 22 base hits and 3rd in the league with a .471 on base percentage. Two balls and 2 strikes. Derek Norris is on deck.
When you contrast the 2 evenings so far, you really understand what a great job Zach Greinke did shutting down this Padre offense. They were potent coming into that game, but Greinke really shut them down last night.
Greinke in 7 innings, no runs and 4 hits. Struck out 7, walked 3.
And Pedro Baez picked him up, and also Yimi Garcia.
He would finish off the Padres. Greinke in 9 starts in his career against San Diego, 5-0 and an ERA of just over $1.50. And facing the National League West at his time with the Dodgers, Greinke is an unbelievable 21-1. Now on 3-2 to Alonso. Call strike 3 outside corner. First strikeout for McCarthy. Second out of the inning.
Well, Brandon trying to get to the edges, because when he's been in the middle, it has been ball's gotten tattooed, and he got a very liberal strike zone on that call.
Saw a little bit of that in yesterday's game.
Mark Wegner, the third base umpire tonight, was calling balls and strikes last night. So McCarthy, 21 pitches, 14 strikes. But 3 of those strikes have been hits, and 2 of the 3 have been home runs. And we're tied at 3, and we're just still in the bottom half of the first. To second base, and that's Howie Kendrick. And that's the end of the first inning. But Will Myers, a leadoff home run over the wall in left center. Justin Upton, a 2-run shot. We are all even at 3 as we go to the second. Some success over the years here at Petco, and Alana Rizzo downstairs with more.
Well, Charlie, of course, Petco Park is known as a pitcher's park. It certainly doesn't feel that way tonight. Andre Ethier with a 2-run shot in the first inning. I asked him earlier today how he approaches this park. Oftentimes a park can get in a hitter's head. He said, it doesn't change anything I do about my approach. I hit the same way here as I do in other parks. He said it's not like a golfer where you can choose to use a 7-iron or a 9-iron. He basically tries to use the same approach here, and it's worked for him tonight, guys.
Indeed, it was his second home run of the year as Jock Peterson leads off here in the second inning, and it's 0-1. Jock Peterson has a very interesting statistical line. When he puts the ball in play, he's hitting .476. However, his swing and miss rate is almost 40%, which is second in the National League, second only to Giancarlo Stanton. But wait, there's more. He's walked 13 times. That's 4th in the National League. He has been struck out 20 times, which is 5th in the league. And there he gets plunked on the foot.
And how about hit by pitches?
When he's hit by a pitch, he has 1,000 on base percentage.
Gets on every time.
Yep.
And the Dodgers this year, when leading after 9, are unbeaten. Brandon McCarthy coming up. McCarthy has one sacrifice this year, and third baseman Middlebrooks is well inside the cutout. Peterson has great speed. And McCarthy takes low and outside, 1 ball and no strikes. One full inning in the books, and we've seen 6 runs and 8 base hits and 3 home runs. 2 for the Padres and 1 for the Dodgers. Peterson, of course, a 30-30 man at AAA last year. Bunt up the first baseline, foul.
Important for Brandon to get down a successful bunt right here for his psyche. He goes out with a 3-0 lead, gives up 3. He's back in an even game. Looking down at Lorenzo Bundy, he just wants to get back in the dugout with a man on second, 1 out. Do something well tonight, something to build on.
Rollins on deck and Ethier to follow. And Kennedy's 38th pitch already. That's a good bunt. Alonso has but 1 play, and Peterson is in scoring position.
He definitely got it down. Got on top of the ball. And there's also a good jump by Peterson. He did a good job too, getting over there.
And Jimmy Rollins coming up. Rollins single to right. And lifted his average to 194. He's 12 out of 62. Peterson, good speed at second base. Rollins takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Ethier to follow, and then Gonzalez. They're playing Rollins to pull. A lot of room in left center for him. 1-1. With runners in scoring position this year, Jimmy Rollins is 2 for 13. Of course, the Dodgers know all too well what he can do in the clutch in big games. Still licking the wounds from Philadelphia. 1 year it's Matt Stairs, the next year it's Jimmy Rollins. Here's a 1-1. Into right field. Myers in front of Kemp, and now Kemp in front of Myers. Well, that was an adventure, wasn't it?
Well, in the ball like that, especially if I know your center fielder is the one in charge, but you have a man on second, and if you have your left fielder, such as Matt, coming across, you let him take it because he has a better angle to throw to third base as compared to Myers on that one. So actually, Matt did the right thing, but you are supposed to listen to your center fielder if he's calling you off.
So who did the right thing?
Well, it should have been Matt's ball. Should have been Matt's ball, so that's why he got it. But I guess the right thing is to listen, right?
Ethier. Well, again, this is a work in progress there outfield. Myers really never played center field before.
So what Myers should have done is just let Matt take it. That's it. Should have noticed that he had a beat on it and let it go.
Well, no harm, no foul. 2 out, and Ethier homered in his first at-bat. Swings, and that bat goes flying. Like a hammer throw in the Olympics. Davey Lopes returning the lumber.
Well, how's that happen, Omar? Guys swinging a bat?
Well, sometimes it just, sometimes it just slips out of your hand if you don't have enough pine tar on there. Sometimes it's a loose grip.
What percentage? What percentage of the grip is grip pressure, and what percentage of it is stickiness?
Gosh, I don't know. I can't break down the percentage for you.
Is it 80-20? Is it 95% grip?
Yeah,
5%?
I think it's about 90-10, maybe. Yeah.
Let's put it in the computer and see how.
Right. I'm sure there's a stat for that.
Are you think?
But sometimes too, there are times in your head you're thinking, I just want to throw the barrel at the ball, and as you're thinking that, going, okay,
that
swing key to throw the barrel at it, and sometimes it slips out of your hands because you're thinking, I'm really trying to force myself to throw the barrel at it.
2-1 to Ethier. Peterson leads from second, and it's now 3 balls and a strike to Andre Ethier, with Adrian Gonzalez hoping to get a shot at it.
That's the thing about baseball. There's so many coaching tips that are kind of the feel compared to real. Mark McGuire talks about that all the time. This is what I want you to feel, but what literally is going to happen is completely different than the feel they're looking for.
Ethier takes a walk. First and second, 2 out, and here's Adrian Gonzalez throughout his career, a great clutch hitter. They love him down here. 6 for 15 with runners in scoring position this season.
Charlie, you mentioned great clutch hitters like Adrian Gonzalez. Well, he's on deck. He's hoping that he gets a chance to come up. Like, he's hoping, okay, Andre, to get a walk, that's all right. I'll be able to pick you up. I want to be able to knock that guy in.
In his career against his old team, 340, 13 home runs and 12 doubles.
And one of the most intelligent hitters in the big leagues, and he sees that Kennedy has command of nothing and is making mistakes with everything, so he's going to look for a certain area.
And fouls it off, 0-1.
That one started in the area he was looking. It just broke more than anticipated. If it didn't break, he had thrown a curveball prior that didn't break quite as much. If that had been the same pitch, he would have squared that up.
There's nothing that you can say, okay, Kennedy's, owning the outside part of the plate. Boy, he's really living with his two-seamer away. He really has nothing that he's established.
Gonzalez in his career with runners in scoring position, 329. Kendrick on deck, Peterson at second, Ethier's at first, and Kennedy's in trouble. Kennedy now at 49 pitches. 28 for strikes. And by the early returns in this game, it's going to be a battle of the bullpens. Tied at 3. And we're just in the second. Two and two to Adrian Gonzalez.
The wind is blowing out to right here at Petco, and seems to be getting the ball knocked down to center and to left. But right field, you've got a little bit of a cushion to carry.
Ethier hit one out down the right field line in the first. And Gonzalez with a fly ball to right. Back goes Kemp, and that one is gone. A home run. A 3-run shot for Adrian Gonzalez, his 7th of the year. He now has 18 runs batted in, and the Dodgers take a 6-3 lead.
Throughout the whole at bat, Adrian looked like he was looking for something middle in. Even when the ball was away, his swing was extended and looked like he still wanted to not hit the ball where it was pitched, but get it to right field. Kennedy puts one on a platter for him. He just puts a nice smooth swing on it, elevates the ball, and it just takes a ride right into the jury box.
Howie Kendrick takes outside and low, 1 ball and no strikes.
Didn't we say before, didn't I say when you know a pitcher is struggling with his command, you just get to look in the spot that you know you can handle, because you know he's going to make a mistake there eventually, and you take advantage.
Kendrick takes outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Adrian Gonzalez, who spent 5 years with the Padres, loves playing against him. This year, Gonzalez is 13 for 19 against Padre pitching. That's a .684 batting average with 6 home runs and 10 runs batted in. And Kendrick takes outside and is 3-1.
That's Alex Guerrero-ish.
Brandon McCarthy in there giving himself a pep talk right now, guys. He's got the same 3-spot lead, and he's got a fresh start. He's got to be getting revved up.
And Kendrick into right field. Kemp coming on, and he makes the sliding catch, and that will end the inning. But Adrian Gonzalez, 7 home runs and 18 runs batted in on the year. And that was his 7th, a 3-run shot. We go to the bottom of the second, just the bottom of the second. Dodgers 6-3. Bottom of the second, time for a look at the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts.
Brandon McCarthy last 3 years from 13-14, and now this year you see the batting average is declining, the strikeouts are up, the home runs, we've got to start watching those, and he has been one of the best over the last few years at walking the fewest guys, but when he's made mistakes, they've made him pay. And that's a cold, hard fact, Charlie.
And nothing but the truth. So here's Middlebrooks, who has had some success against McCarthy. One ball and one strike. Now you come to a Dodger-Padre game, whether it's up in LA or down here in San Diego, and you expect the 3-2, 2-1 pitchers. What you don't expect in an inning and a half is 4 home runs, 9 runs, and 9 base hits. Gonzalez and Ethier with the home runs for the Dodgers. Myers and Upton the home runs for the Padres. And Middlebrooks fouls it back. It's 2-2.
Well, we did say coming into the series, this is a new Padre lineup.
Yes.
Definitely a different look and a lot more power, and they've been showing that since this season has begun.
It's not only a new look Padre team, as McCarthy misses high 3-2. It's a new feel around Petco Park. The Padres have this town buzzing again. It's a sold-out house again. A brand spanking new scoreboard in left, which is spectacular. And Middlebrooks fouls it off to the right. So there's plenty to talk about in San Diego. Last year they had the worst offense in the league, and at the moment they have scored more runs than any team in the National League, and more base hits for that matter too. Leadoff walk. So Adrian Gonzalez continues his hot hitting. Now has 7 home runs, 18 runs batted in, and Alana's got more.
Well, Charlie, I asked Adrian Gonzalez the exact same question I asked Andre Ethier earlier today before the game. Obviously, he knows this park very well, having been a Padre here for so long. He said line drive hits obviously in the gaps, the best way to attack it. I said, can a park get in a hitter's head? He said, certainly a home park can, and maybe Nomar can elaborate on this. He said on the road you're in and out, so it doesn't necessarily get to you, but certainly a home park can, guys.
Alexi Amarista takes the ball inside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Yeah, what Adrian was talking about, it can, because that's where you're going to be hitting most of your games. And if you feel like, gosh, I square a ball up and it's not carrying for you, it's very depressing. So you end up trying to change your swing because of those things. I remember, for example, playing at Wrigley Field early in the season, the wind blows in an awful lot there, and then you have high grass, so you're going, I can't hit one on the ground because it's going to get gobbled up by the grass, and then if I hit one in the air, it's going to get knocked down, so you really have to focus on just trying to hit a line drive.
There goes the runner. Little nubber, and McCarthy will throw out Amarista. Middlebrooks will go to second. And then you've got the idiosyncratic ballparks like Fenway, where suddenly a left-handed batter may be attracted to the pesky pole, or on the other hand may go the other way to the green monster. And then sometimes, I assume, hitters adjust and maybe too much to the park.
Yeah, there's guys, right-handers want to get a little pull happy because they think it's closer there. So you see that when guys come in a lot, actually. And I always thought Fenway was better for a lefty because it keeps them on the ball, and even if their miss hits go off the wall to the left side.
Ian Kennedy, the hitter, with a runner at second. Fouls it back, and it's 0-1.
Well, it does seem it's easier to build a consistent winner and attract free agents when you have a fair ballpark. And it seems like everybody who's had the ballpark that's out on a tangent, be it Colorado, can't attract pitching. The Comerica, and San Diego here now, they were more pitchers parks, and they've moved the fences in to make it fairer so they can attract both pitchers and hitters.
A lot of times, when you feel really good at your home park and you're swinging well, so let's say those from Colorado, well, you go away and you have confidence because you've been swinging well. Well, let's say you're on the road too and you're going to slump. Well, you can't wait to get home because then okay, then there's the confidence there. So it can affect definitely your psyche.
1-1 to Kennedy. McCarthy missing outside. 2-1. Was it Juan Gonzalez about 15 years ago? Was all set to sign with Detroit Tigers.
Yep.
Then he walked into Comerica and said, "Are you kidding?" And he never did. They would eventually bring the fences in at Comerica. Gonzalez can't get it, and neither can Ethier.
And Colorado stepped up and went and got a couple free agent pitchers one year. You went and got Mike Hampton and Denny Nagel. That didn't work out too well for those guys. They got their money and they came there, but they overpaid them to come. And
I remember when Mike Hampton signed for 100 and something, whatever. And at the press conference, well, why did you come to Denver? He said, "I like the public school system."
He's going to make enough money.
He could have bought his own school. Here's 2-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Kennedy is down. That's a second strikeout for McCarthy. 2 out, and Will Myers coming up.
Speaking of psyche, Oral, how important is it for McCarthy right now to try? You're going back to the lineup again. Myers already has a home run off of you, but to just try to put a 0 after your team came back and put another 3 spot.
Yeah. I was just sitting here thinking that same thing as I'm watching him, tug at the bill of his cap. It's like this is a huge hitter for him, for the team, for the bullpen, for him to be able to start and get on a little bit of a roll.
And his confidence. And there's a strike, 0-1.
Both of his breaking balls tonight, they're just up and flat. They don't have that finish. It looks like he's starting them on the right trajectory, but something going on in his hand or his grip that it's slipping around the ball. It's not really getting to the front of the ball, helping the ball bite.
Myers with his 3rd home run of the season in the first inning. He's 3 home runs and now 12 runs batted in, and that's Middlebrooks at second base.
As you see right there, the breaking ball that just kind of stays there in the middle. It starts at the top part of the strike zone where it needs to, but it's not really finishing and getting down by the knees.
1-1 to Middlebrooks. I'm sorry, to Myers. That is 2-1.
The recipe for disaster for a pitcher is when your sharpest, best stuff is for a ball, and your flat stuff is for a strike. And that's pretty much the pattern Brandon's got going right now.
2-1. 2-2.
Fans here thinking Marty Foster needs a faster modem. A little delay on the call, but it looks like it is right there, right on the edge. Barely if you're a Dodger fan, ball if you're a Padre fan.
And again, it's pretty near 50-50 between Dodger and Padre fans tonight at Petco, as was the case last night. Ball strike 3, that ends the inning. And McCarthy can take a nice deep gulp of air. He leaves the second inning, and we begin the third with Grandal, Crawford, and Uribe coming up. Dodgers 6-3. The Cy Young Pin Collectors Series presented by 76. Pick up pin number 2 featuring Don Drysdale Monday, April 27th when the Dodgers take on the Giants. This Monday. Visit Dodgers.com/promotions. And Clayton Kershaw will be ready to make the start on Tuesday.
Does he get 3 pins?
He knows people.
He should have as many as he wants.
Yasmani Grandal, first pitch, ground ball, first base, bobbled by Alonso. And there's Kennedy at first base for the first down. Carl Crawford coming up. Crawford, who homered last night, doubled and drove in a run in his first at-bat tonight. So Carl has lifted his average to 279. 1 home run, 3 runs batted in, and now 4 doubles. The ball inside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. Infield plays Crawford to pull. The outfield plays him the other way. And he pulls it. 2 down. Uribe coming up. He flied to right in his first at-bat. Maybe Kennedy's beginning to settle down now. Certainly the pitch count would suggest that. Two pitches, 2 outs, and let's see if Uribe is inclined to take one here. Juan has 10 base hits on the year and takes a strike, 0-1.
Nomar, you were notorious first pitch swinger. Would you take one there?
Well, he threw 3 pitches. It was if it was the first 2, I'd probably take, but it's tough for me to tell myself to take. Because sometimes they're going right down the middle, and you think, okay, I might just be able to. Depends on really how I'm swinging. If I'm feeling really good, I'm not taking. I'm taking a hack.
1 ball and 1 strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I almost treat it like my 3-0 approach when I'm
really keyhole.
Yeah, and I'm going. If I'm feeling good, I'm going to swing 3-0, and if I'm not feeling good, I'm just taking 3-0s.
Would you hit over 500 in your career, 3-0?
Yeah.
I thought so. I remember looking at that one day. What were you like, 2 for 3? Just kidding. He was, Charlie. Can you imagine?
He never got to 3-0.
How many years did you play?
14 seasons. Mm-hmm.
And how many 3-0 counts do you think you had in your life?
About 5.
Yeah. I think I remember.
No, I don't know
how many. It was less than 50, I think.
Yeah.
It was some crazy number that was really low.
Oh, that I probably swung the bat on.
Mm-hmm.
That's different. Swinging doesn't mean I didn't get to 3-0. Didn't count the ones that I actually took or walk or went to 3-1, and then I swung.
Right.
3-2 to Uribe. We're in the top of the 3rd. The Dodgers 6-3, and Uribe fouls it back. Jock Peterson is on deck. Uribe still looking for his first home run of the year. Kennedy into the wide. Oh, some play by Solarte. And Uribe robbed of a base hit. But Uribe will go back to the dugout, pleased with the swing he took. And Nomar will tell you why when we come back. Solarte robbed Uribe of a hit. Dodgers 6-3 as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Dodge Challenger with an EPA estimated 30 highway MPG. This car was made for driving in California. Visit Dodge.com today. Well, we talked about Juan Uribe, and while he was robbed of a base hit, Nomar, he had to be pleased with that swing, and tell us why.
Yeah, last night I walked by him and we were talking a little bit about hitting. Now look at that front shoulder here. He stays on the ball, and then when he makes contact, and he was telling me that he wants to emphasize going the other way more. He feels like he's been pulling the ball too much, and I agreed with him. And I said a lot of that times for me was a key was my front shoulder staying in there, and I didn't mind if I actually hit a hard ball to the second baseman. That told me I was staying on, and that right there, that replay showed exactly what he did. He kept that front shoulder in and hit a rocket to the second baseman.
It is raining in San Diego. That's not supposed to happen. 1-1 to Solarte with Kemp on deck. Chopped up the first base line, an easy play for Gonzalez. 1 out.
That hitting advice and conversation came from a guy in Nomar that in a 3-0 count in his career, he was 10 for 17. He had 588.
So once a year, you got to 3-0.
No, I got to 3-0 before. I'm just telling you, I felt depends on how I was swinging that determined whether I was going to let it fly or not. And there were times I felt good and I was letting it go, and I was going to be successful at it.
So once in a blue moon.
He only made it out 7 times out of 17 times when he decided to swing 3-0.
Kemp into left field, and in comes a sliding Crawford. Kemp is robbed of a hit. Nice play by Carl Crawford in left.
A lot of different things have to go right for Carl here. The wind's blowing left to right, so that being knocked down, he got a good jump, and he kept his eye on it and had his nice smooth slide so his eyes didn't bobble.
And it was such a nice catch, they named the camera for him. A Carl's Cam catch. 2 out. And Upton is coming up. Upton with a home run in his first at-bat. Dodgers with a 6-3 lead in the bottom half of the third. So on a night when the Dodgers and Padres have already combined for 9 runs and 9 hits and 4 home runs, it's been raining in San Diego. There's some weird stuff going on here today. Upton into short right. Ethier's there. A 6-pitch inning for Brandon McCarthy, who now has retired 6 in a row. We will go to the 4th. Dodgers 6-3. Well, the Dodgers and the Padres have been flexing their muscles through the first third of the game. And it's going to be Jock Peterson leading off in the 4th against Ian Kennedy. Kennedy threw 56 pitches through the first 2 innings, settled down by throwing but 10 in the 3rd. Peterson hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance. Takes up and in, 1 ball and no strikes. Well, one of the things we have noticed now through the first almost 3 weeks of the season is that Peterson is greeted with a shift practically every time up. 1-1.
Absolutely amazing to me that he had 46 at bats this year already. I don't know how many he got in September last year, maybe 25. And he's already being shifted against. I mean, this was saved for the greats, Ted Williams and so on, Willie Stargell. Shifting has become commonplace with very little data.
Now Brandon McCarthy coming up. He successfully sacrificed in his first at bat. A misty Saturday night in San Diego. And the 6'7" Brandon McCarthy takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes. So Kennedy already at 70 pitches, 40 strikes, 30 balls. And he falls behind McCarthy 2-0. Rollins on deck, and then Andre Ethier. Three and 0. Kennedy couldn't get out of his own way the first 2 innings, but he has now retired the last 5 batters he faced after the Gonzalez 3-run home run in the second. That was a safe bet, taking on 3-0. Kennedy, of course, pitched collegiately at USC. 3-2. And was a first-round draft pick of the New York Yankees. In 2006. Alonso's been busy. 2 out. Jimmy Rollins coming up, and Sunday at 5, Sportsnet LA brings you a one-on-one sit-down with Jimmy Rollins. Get connected with the All-Stars. He talks about adjusting to new second baseman Howie Kendrick. Tune in for the premiere of Connected with Jimmy Rollins this Sunday at 5 on Sportsnet LA.
Nomar, you did that interview. Did you enjoy it?
I did, very much so. Just being able to talk to Jimmy about shortstop, talking to him about his double play partner right there, Howie Kendrick. What made him, one of the questions was, you worked with the Phillies for so long, you have pretty much a no trade clause when you're a 10-5 guy, and why now? And it's a great response about him wanting to be a Dodger. So it was definitely a lot of fun, and got a lot of insights, got to know him, and I've always respected how he played the game and everything he's accomplished.
1 ball and no strikes. Now it's 1-1.
Those inside pieces on guys you know from a distance are the ones that I really like to watch. The ones that are close friends, it's like I already know their answers almost. I know them so well. But the new guys that you have admired across the field, or people that you've admired by just watching them from another generation, those are always the fun ones for me to watch.
Rollins, a 3-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Glove winner, and the MVP of the National League in 2007. All-time hits leader with the Phillies. After that big build-up, down on strikes. Second strikeout for Kennedy. Nothing across for the Dodgers after 3.5. Dodgers 6-3. On today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop at ChooseNissan.com and by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Use promo code BLUECREW for free entry. Scott Van Slyke menacing with the bat in his hand. As we go to the bottom of the fourth, Brandon McCarthy has settled down after a shaky first inning. He's got a 6-3 lead to work with. Yonder Alonso begins the bottom of the fourth and takes a strike. It's 0-1. McCarthy gave up all 3 runs and all 3 hits in the very first inning. That's Peterson, and that's the first out of the fourth.
Yeah, the first positive thing he did was lay down the sacrifice bunt in the top of the second. Since then, only one person has reached base, and that was with a free pass that he gave up. Other than that, he's been nails.
So couldn't that bat help you out on the pitcher's mound, Orr?
Well, it definitely didn't hurt. It gave him the first thing that he had done positive for the night. He executed something he was responsible for and then was able to come back out and get a 0. Remember, we talked about the man on second, 2 outs. Right. Myers up there who had hit a home run off him. He got through that also and started to build some confidence.
Derek Norris takes a strike. Norris off to a terrific start. 323, 21 hits, 8 doubles.
Sometimes as a pitcher you study and prepare and you get ready for your outing. Maybe you have a bad bullpen coming into the game. You're on there, your team scores you 3, you go out on the mound, you're not comfortable, you give up the runs. And then you come in the dugout, you sit down, you get the bunt down, and all of a sudden everything you were kind of anticipating or anxious about has happened to you. So there's nothing left to be worried about other than let's just go back out there and pitch. And so if you worry a little bit or you're too concerned about the opposing lineup or maybe even over-prepared, overthought it, once it's over with, you just go, well, you might as well just cut it loose now.
And then you feel like, hey, I actually helped my team out by getting the sacrifice bunt down. Okay, we're okay. I can play this game. Now let's go throw.
Free and easy. Let's get back to Little League and high school and just cutting it loose.
It's like that great scene from Hoosiers. It's 15 feet from the foul line, 10 feet to the bucket. It's still 60 feet and 6 inches. And a fly ball into right, and Ethier should have an easy play.
And right now, the Padres are helping Brandon out. They're swinging at those borderline pitches that look to me up 2-3 inches off the plate, and they're reaching for him. It's kind of like we got our hitting shoes on. He doesn't have it tonight, but they're not forcing him in the strike zone right now.
After the Upton 2-run home run in the first, 1 base runner for the Padres. That was a leadoff walk to Middlebrooks in the third. 2 out, nobody on here in the bottom half of the fourth. It's low and inside. 1 ball, no strikes. McCarthy has struck out 3. He has walked 1. And this is about to be his 57th pitch. 36 for strikes. Into right. Ethier's there. And another 1-2-3 inning for Brandon McCarthy. 9-pitch inning following a 6-pitch third. McCarthy has rediscovered his sea legs. jersey number 66 and be one of the first 15,000 kids 14 and under in attendance when you come to Dodger Stadium May 3rd and get a kid's Yasiel Puig replica jersey presented by Rice Krispies Treats. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. On this misty Saturday night in San Diego, Puig's understudy Andre Ethier, a 2-run home run in his first at-bat, walked in his second at-bat and came around on the Gonzalez 3-run home run, which is the difference in the game. Ethier in the first inning. Got it all. The only question was, would it stay fair? And it did. His second home run, he's got 5 runs batted in. And it's 0-1. 1 ball and 1 strike.
No, Mar, you've been around Andre for a long time. It's more than just health this year, isn't it?
I think he has more confidence right now, just in his swing. Watching the way the swing path of his bat through the zone, I think he's able to make better contact, whether it's a lefty or righty on the hill. I think also just him shortening, he's protecting that hand too, so he's choking up a little bit, so he seems to have more back control. So I think all of those things together has contributed to his early success right now, and I hope it continues, and I hope he recognizes that, continues going to the box with that confidence.
And as we mentioned, he, in point of seniority, he's number 1 now. He has seen dozens of Dodgers come and go. His name has been out there for the last couple of years. He has seen others come and go, and here he is. 9 years with the Dodgers now. Made his debut in 2006 in what turned out to be a very one-sided trade. First deal that Ned Colletti made when he became general manager of the Dodgers was with the Oakland Athletics for Milton Bradley. Ethier in his 9-year big league career, .285 lifetime average. On 2-2. Into right center field. Kemp is not going to get it. That one's going to roll to the wall. Ethier is on his way to second. Ethier will hold there. Andre Ethier, quite a night for himself. A home run, a walk, and a double. The Dodgers are in business in the top half of the 5th.
Oh, right on mark, right? We're talking about how he's been swinging the bat so well. I mean, that was a good pitch down and in, and he stays on it. I mean, he really didn't. You didn't notice his knees really bending to go get that. He trusted that his hands and the barrel can get to that ball, and he drives it to right center.
And here comes Adrian Gonzalez, who has scored 2, knocked in 3, a double and a home run tonight. Takes high and away, 1 ball and no strikes.
Beginning of the season, Don Mattingly and Andrew Friedman have meetings with all the players, and Andre Ethier really didn't think that he would be a Dodger by the end of spring training. Then he's on the club looking like, is he going to play? And then he goes from there to now. The scouts in the stands are writing reports about this guy's worth the risk. If the Dodgers want to move him, we'll take him now in almost the whole contract with the way he looks like he can play and can play for a long time to come. But he's made himself so valuable, the Dodgers aren't going to unload him. He's not going anywhere.
They're thrown over to third base, and Ethier's out. Well, that was some play by Yonder Alonso. Calculated risk by Ethier had backfired.
Well, you're taught as a runner, when it's hit to your left, you go when you're on second base. And that was hit to his left. So Ethier goes. It was just a great play by Alonso, recognizing that that ball was hit to his right. And that was a lot it took to get a hard throw, strong throw over there, and to throw off the run. It was close to see if he even got his foot in there before the tag. But, Andre didn't do anything wrong there. No. You're supposed to go on that ball. It was just a better play by Alonso. I mean, if you're going to question it, wouldn't you want Howie to step out of the box before the next pitch is coming?
And our shot right there with Andre at the bench by Don Mattingly. In the background, you saw Tim Wallach on the phone. And he was checking the replay for sure.
But Kendrick was in the batter's box and allowed the play to continue. So there was some miscommunication there somewhere. Kendrick takes a strike. It's 1-1.
There's an example of the pace of play rule speeding up the game, but replay was brought into existence to make sure that we get things right. So we've got a confrontation of two things right there.
1 ball, 1 strike. I mentioned as the play was unfolding, Nomar, and you picked up on it too. It was a calculated risk. It was not a bad decision. It was just a terrific play by Alonso.
Right. And kudos to Alonso on that one, recognizing where his body was taking him and the athleticism he showed. I mean, really, that's not an easy throw, throwing off the run and to be accurate like that. It took a perfect throw to get Ethier out. I mean, if he throws that up the line or throws that high anywhere else,
he's got to throw it like in a 4-foot square.
Right, and Ethier would be safe easily in that.
So Kendrick is 0 for 2. Into right and slicing foul. Howie at 306, and Kennedy, who struggled mightily through the first 2 innings, has kind of settled in. In fact, both starting pitchers have. With a fly ball to center field, Myers going way back, and it's gone, a home run. Howie Kendrick with a home run over the wall and straightaway center. His 3rd of the year, a 2-run shot, and the Dodgers lead 8-3. He got it all.
And a night like not today, you definitely have to get it all. I love Howie Kendrick's swing. He stays in the ball, inside the ball so well. That ball was on the inner half, and he's still able to keep the barrel on the inner half and drive it to center field. You saw the pitch before or earlier in that bat where he hits it foul down the right field line, stays the same way, gets a pitch he can handle, and he got all of that.
Kendrick with his 3rd home run of the year for the Dodgers, their 3rd home run of the night. They lead the National League with 24 home runs. Kennedy is out. Pitching change, and the Dodgers lead by 5. Too well. For the Dodgers, it was terrific. 8 earned runs. He gave up 3 home runs, and this is Chris Ririck making his 5th appearance of his young career, facing the switch-hitting Yasmani Grandal. There's a ball outside, 1 ball and no strikes. It is raining in San Diego. Really? Grandal is 1 for 2. The Dodgers lead 8-3. And there's a strike on the outside corner. 1-1. And Slyke lives in his own universe.
I don't think I've ever seen. I don't know what that does. I don't know if that's what that's supposed to. Is that just protecting his hat?
Gonzalez is wondering the same thing. So I was talking to Van Slyke today because it had been mentioned that in the case of the Dodgers needing an emergency catcher, he would be the one. And so, not an unreasonable question to the 3rd string catcher who you see there. When was the last time you caught? So I don't remember. Said I caught a little bit in high school, a couple innings in the minors once.
Well, you have to be crazy to be a catcher, and there you go.
Case closed. Case closed. There's your garden gnome for you. Andy must be so proud.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it says his bat.
Bat. Okay. We've been in the game a long time. Well, I hadn't figured out what he had done until that angle.
It's all right. He hadn't figured out what he had done either. 3-2 to Grandal. And the Dodgers with a fat 5-run lead with 1 out in the top of the 5th. And the Padres grounds crew figuring, what are we supposed to do if it continues to rain or something? Grandal takes a walk. That is a seldom used piece of equipment at Petco Park.
They probably don't even know where it is. We found it.
Well, when they unfurl it, there are going to be millions of moths that will fly out. What's going on? Carl Crawford, who was doubled and driven in a run tonight in 2 at-bats. Up and in, 1 ball and no strikes. And now, as the rain is intensifying, fans are heading for the overhangs. Even they don't know what to do. It's like a fire drill in elementary school. Hold your hand, buddy to buddies.
There are umbrellas here.
Seldom used.
Right.
Those people have been transplanted from the East Coast.
Crawford into right, and Kemp is there. That's a 2nd out. And Uribe coming up. There was a game here maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Must have been about a half a dozen rain delays. And the game didn't end till about 2 o'clock in the morning. And it was cold and it was nasty. It might as well have been Green Day in November. And then there's tonight. And that's about it. All the years coming down here. Uribe swings and misses.
Well, the Clouds are moving at a really good pace, and there's a clearing over the left field wall a little bit.
The Clouds are aware of pace of play, apparently.
They are. The Clouds would like to get this game in.
Not as much as we do. Uribe to right. That could be trouble. And that is a fair ball and gone, a home run. Juan Uribe goes the other way, a 2-run shot for the Dodgers. Their second home run of the 5th, their 4th in the game. It is now 10-3.
Well, Nomar, you talked about him keeping that front shoulder in and going to right field, and when you do that, the ball gets a little deeper in your swing, and he let that happen. And Adrian Gonzalez in his pregame talk with Alana talked about just hit line drives here. They'll go out.
And that one at bat before, when he hit that ball to second base, and even that bat even before that, when he flew out to right, you can tell it was coming. And good at bats, you get rewarded, and he gets rewarded with a nice home run, something to build on. We know he's been struggling early on this season. Say the Dodgers right now, you talk about this ballpark not being hitter friendly, and then you top on with the rain coming down. They're making this place look small.
10 runs and 9 hits for the Dodgers. Uribe's first home run of the year. A 2-run shot. And Peterson bangs a single into right field. It was, I must admit to, talking now to my friend Mike, being part of the conversation last night with you and Uribe and talking about the front shoulder and going the other way, and then we talked about his last at-bat in the 3rd, robbed of a hit by Solarte to second base, and he said, hey, that's exactly what we were talking about. And then in his next at-bat, hits one into the jury box, and as it turned out, Rurick was guilty as charged.
Well, those are the things that we talk about. We talk about it in pitching. We talk about hitting. It's all about confidence. That's the key word. And at bats like that could really build your confidence.
Brandon McCarthy swings and misses.
The other thing I was impressed with is after the at bat before, when you get robbed of a base hit, it's really easy to go, oh, I don't know what to do. Woe is me.
Leave the approach.
Exactly. Instead of saying, okay, you know what, that is something good. That's a positive. Let me stay with it. And that's what he did.
McCarthy fouls it up the first base line. But that was precisely what the two of you were talking about for 15 minutes last night.
Talking baseball is fun.
Oh. One of the best parts about the job. And how about that? That's Alex Guerrero, who's been nipping at the heels of Uribe for that 3rd base spot. Comes over and congratulates Uribe on the home run. McCarthy is down on strikes. And a big 5th inning for the Dodgers. A 2-run shot for Howie Kendrick. And a 2-run blast for Juan Uribe through the rain after 4.5. 10-3 Dodgers. And Kevin Kennedy doing the radio call. On this day, 1976, Rick Monday with the Cubs at Dodger Stadium made that great play for which he will always be remembered. 39 years ago, Mo, as they call him, Rick Monday with the great play. Indeed, a happy anniversary to our friend and colleague, Rick Monday, alongside Kevin Kennedy. We begin now the bottom half of the fifth, and Alexi Amarista is the hitter. McCarthy has settled down after a shaky first, and now he's got a 7-run lead to work with. Dodgers 10 runs and 10 hits and 3 home runs. Correction, 4 home runs. And a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ethier with 1, Gonzalez with 1, Kendrick with 1, and Uribe with 1. And the Dodgers lead the league with 25 home runs. Amarista takes a strike, and it's 1-2.
Brandon has not only been staked to a 10-3 lead in this game, he's been pitching on the correct night so far this year for the Dodgers. They've scored 7, 6, and 7, and now 10 in his starts.
Something about run support.
And that's some padding at the beginning of a season that can all of a sudden, when you're pitching not up to your capabilities, but you're getting good results, that's the start of a possible big year for you statistically.
McCarthy in search of his 3rd win of the year, and that's Jock Peterson.
When your bad outings are no decisions or even sometimes W's, and then your good outings come and the bullpen fills in the gap for you in those and gets you some saves, you can end up turning your record into something with a lot of wins and very few losses.
Well, if recent history is an indicator, the Dodgers are really living large tonight as Will Venable pinch hits. Takes a strike. Since 2010, including last night when the Dodgers shut out the Padres 3-0, the Dodgers are 22-4 when they score at least 3 here in San Diego. Venable. No balls, 2 strikes. Rick Honeycutt in the middle of Tim Wallach, and of course Don Mattingly. Venable on 0-2, takes high and away.
Omar, with a day game tomorrow, 10-3 lead, is there a point in this game where you think about an Adrian Gonzalez wants to play tomorrow, you get him off his legs? A Juan Uribe wants to play tomorrow, you get him off his legs?
You know, that's you're going to talk to them about that. Leave it up to them, because if they're, for example, Juan Uribe, he just had 3 good at-bats. Does he want to stay in there, continue that, get another at-bat, or does he want to come out, you know, and stay on that if you feel like you have guys that come in and fill that void? Same thing with Adrian. You ask him.
You've really got a few guys out there that you think about. Juan, Jimmy Rollins, Adrian, and Carl Crawford.
And you know what? There may be, Don may already be planning giving one of those guys a day off anyway, so that he might say leave him in because finish off the game, you're going to get it off.
You couldn't pry Uribe out of the lineup the way he's hitting tonight. And another 1-2-3 inning for McCarthy. After a miserable first, he has been brilliant since. We go to the 6th, and the Dodgers lead by a touchdown and an extra point. Baseball, even though it's been raining intermittently in San Diego, the Dodgers with a big, fat 7-run lead. Now it's time to take a look at the Dodger calendar, brought to you by 76. The Dodgers have announced tomorrow's starting pitcher. He's a fabulous Baker boy. Scott Baker has been called up. He arrived about 5:30 this afternoon, introduced himself in the outfield of his manager and his new team. He's going to be facing Brandon Morrow and will be on the air at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Then the Giants are in town Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights, and Vin will be there to join you. Jimmy Rollins leads off against Espana, making his 5th appearance and his 3rd out of the bullpen. Yonder Alonso has played a very dependable first base there tonight. On one pitch, Rollins is retired. Now Andre Ethier's had quite a night. 2 for 2, a walk, home run double, lifting his average to 344, and he's a bench player. That's how things have been going for the Dodgers. They've got as much depth as they've had in a decade or more.
Dodgers have 2 guys that sometimes are on the bench that would make the All-Star game if he stopped right now. Ethier and Guerrero.
Well, Guerrero's had unbelievable numbers. Ethier now at 344, fouls it back. Alex Guerrero has had 19 at-bats and has knocked in 12 runs. And Ethier, his on-base percentage at the moment is .450. Look at Alonso again. What a clinic he has put on tonight. Robbing Ethier of a double. There's 2 out.
Well, Andre has been on all day today, squaring the ball up, and Alonso, what a tremendous play over there at first base. As we look at Morongo's slow-mo cam there, laying out, getting up, and beating Andre to the bag.
And it was Alonso who threw out Ethier at third base back in the 5th inning. 2 out, nobody on, and Adrian Gonzalez 2 for 3 and 3 runs scored.
You mentioned Guerrero, and what a lightning rod, that topic of just him being on the roster and saying, I'm not going down to AAA. He was the middle of spring training. Now he's a positive lightning rod.
What's fascinating, when the conversation about Guerrero perhaps being inserted into the lineup, it did not go unnoticed by Juan Uribe. Uribe has really hit the ball very well over the last week to 10 days, including the home run tonight. Gonzalez fouls it off.
And Uribe really rewarding Don Mattingly with his patience, because the firestorm was starting to brew around Juan Uribe, and slight pulled hamstring when he had to come in for Justin Turner because of the finger injury in a game, and then he tweaks his hamstring, and we went through, I think, 4 third basemen in that game. And since then, Juan started to turn it around. Guerrero becomes an asset on the bench.
Now the 3-1. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Adrian Gonzalez with 2 out in the 6th inning. Dodgers with 3 in the first have led from the get-go. Dodgers are 5-1 when scoring first this year. They're 10-6 overall. Into left field, Upton is there. Well, Gonzalez couldn't have hit it any harder as he lines to left to end the 6th. After 5.5, beneath stormy clouds, trying to give way to some clearing. Dodgers 10-3.
this game, and I was talking to Padres bench coach Dave Roberts about what Matt Kemp has been able to bring to this club, and he said that he's basically done everything that they wanted him to do as far as the consistency and the prep is concerned. He said one thing that they didn't necessarily expect, but they're certainly getting from Kemp, was the conscious effort to elevate everyone's play around him. Not only talking about winning, but just the energy, guys, that he brings to the clubhouse.
Well, Matt Kemp, talking to him the other day, thanks a lot, really enjoys being in San Diego. Lives about a half hour out of town. He's away from the spotlights and the red carpets and all of that he lived with in L.A. And the young fellow from Oklahoma has found San Diego to his liking. He actually bought the place in San Diego before he was traded here. Meanwhile, Solarte, who was also traded here from the Yankees, is 0 for 2. The Padres signed Jed Jerko to a long-term and expensive contract extension about a year ago. Solarte fouls it back. Well, they found out that Spangenberg, who started last night, and Solarte, who is starting tonight, is a switch hitter. Frankly, he's been a better player for him. So Jerko is been spending a lot of time watching games. Here's the 1-2. Foul back again. Solarte's now 27. He's from Venezuela. Played a half a season with the Yankees last year and the other half with the Padres. Drilled into right center field for a base hit. Ethier quickly over, keeping it to a single. A leadoff hit for Solarte in the 6th. So here's Kemp. Robbed of a hit in his last at-bat, a sliding catch by Carl Crawford. A single to left and a stolen base and a run scored in his first at-bat. Dodgers 10 runs and 10 hits. Padres 3 runs and 4 base hits, and that's the first hit off McCarthy since the first inning. 1 ball, no strikes to Matt Kemp.
Brandon at 74 pitches right now. He is the only one that, other than Zach Greinke, who has gone 7 innings as a starter for the Dodgers. Greinke's done it twice. Brandon's done it once. He sure would like to get this game to the 8th for the bullpen.
Greinke off that magnificent performance last night. Zach Greinke, mentioned in the open, certainly worthy of repeating. On the year, Greinke 3-0 and a 1.35 ERA. In his career against the Padres, 5-0 and a 1.58 ERA. Since coming to the Dodgers, his record against the National League West is 21-1 and a 1.88 earned run average. And following a Dodger loss, he's 23-8.
Are those good numbers, Oral?
That's pretty good.
Wow.
Pretty solid. He's got a nice start here to a possible Cy Young year. Long way to go, but in 2009 he did it.
Kemp rolls it foul. Kemp has got a boatload of hits, 26 on the season, but 1 home run. They will come. On a night when the Dodgers have hit 4 home runs and the Padres have hit 2. 2 balls and a strike. So Oral, McCarthy couldn't get out of his own way in the first inning. I mean, he's getting beaten from head to toe. Since then, the leadoff single by Solarte here in the 6th The only hit since. What is he doing fundamentally different? And somehow Kemp is able to beat the shift. And Solarte will go to third. So the Padres have something going here. First and third, nobody out in the sixth.
Well, the difference really has been Brandon McCarthy has made a few better pitches, and then the Padres started to get themselves out. Now they're making him come up into the strike zone. Brandon falls behind in the count, and you see that breaking ball. He just kind of stays in the middle. A two-hopper will beat a lot of shifts because it gets through the infield very quickly. Matt Kemp scorched that ball. Brandon's got to pitch right now to just forget about that run on third. Let him have that, trade it for a double play, trade it for an out, stay away from the big inning. And Yasmani out there with a little conversation, probably to give the bullpen a chance maybe to get up and start getting loose.
Well, there are two thoughts there. One, he's got a 7-run lead to work with. And two, they've got Scott Baker going tomorrow. So they might want to extend McCarthy a little bit longer with a reasonable assumption that the bullpen will be on call tomorrow with Baker going, making his Dodger debut, just called up today.
Well, you definitely like him to go deep in the game, but if you've got a chance to really put this one in the books, win the series, I don't think you're going to nurse it along hoping to save the bullpen and sacrifice, turning this into a close game. But I think you're right, Charlie. They'd like to get him another inning, and 2 innings would be great, 6th and the 7th here.
Mattingly flashing signs to the catcher, Yasmani Grandal,
to control the running game.
Upton to the right side, and Gonzalez will run out of room.
If Brandon McCarthy can retire Upton, even if it's a sacrifice fly or a ground ball for an out that scores a run, I don't think we'll see much action from the bullpen. But if Upton reaches safely, I think that's when we're going to see the action.
So he's got 7 runs worth of house money to play with, Brandon McCarthy. His 80th pitch with runners at the corners and nobody out. Into center field. Peterson's going back, way back to the bullpen. 3-run shot for Upton, his 2nd home run of the night. The 3rd given up by McCarthy. The 9th he has surrendered on the year. It is now 10-6.
Fastball up, down the middle of the plate. We know it's a dangerous hitter up there with Upton. You touched on it, Earl, that as long as he can get an out, stay away from the big inning, well, can't make a mistake like that to a dangerous hitter. And he capitalized on it.
Brandon's either dealing with something that's been nagging to bring the trainer with you after a home run. Has he been dealing with something the whole outing? Or is it just something they noticed on that particular pitch?
Don Mattingly talking with home plate umpire Marty Foster, saying, hey, this is an injury timeout. This is not a visit.
Right after the pitch and the swing, Mattingly jumps out of the dugout. Brandon's shaking his arm right there. I don't know if it's an embarrassment or he's got a twinge. Yep, they're going to take him out.
So McCarthy is coming out of the game.
Oh, he called him out. Yeah, something he's been dealing with.
That's Sergio Santos, just recalled. And of course, he will have as much time as he needs to get ready. And so McCarthy is out. The Dodgers lead by 4, 10-6. Nobody out at the bottom of the 6th. We're going to take a break. Kia dealers. Visit mysocalkia.com to learn more. Sergio Santos, LA product. Last season in Toronto, 26 appearances. This is his first with the Dodgers. And when Brandon McCarthy looked to the third base dugout and called for the fellas to come out of the dugout, certainly not a good sign. The Dodgers signed McCarthy to a 4-year deal in the offseason. And he has had shoulder issues over the years. Was on the DL in 2013, 2012, twice in 2012. And so McCarthy out with an injury. Santos has as much time as he needs to warm up. McCarthy went 5 innings, 6 runs, 6 hits, struck out 4, walked 1, and surrendered 3 home runs.
It's hard to speculate on Brandon's health. We do know he left the game hurting somewhere because he called the trainer out to the mound. But who knows if that had been bothering him throughout the game or just in this last inning.
Santos last pitched on Tuesday night against Nashville. An inning and gave up a hit, a walk, and struck out a batter. He was scoreless in 5 of 6 relief appearances this year in 4 2/3 innings. He struck out 8 in 4 2/3. And tomorrow, Scott Baker will be making his Dodger debut. And, of course, Ryu is on the disabled list. And here is Yonder Alonso. While 0 for 2 tonight, he's made 3 or 4 just outstanding defensive plays at first base. Santos pulls the string, and it's 0-1. Alonso with 22 base hits this year and 1 home run. So what was a 10-3 lead heading into the bottom of the 6th? Padres now within 4.
Right now, even though the Dodgers are up 10-6 right now, you can feel some momentum over there on the San Diego side. So you really want to try to stop that. And Sergio Santos coming in. So also the fielders have been out there in this rain, get a little stiff as it's cold and wet.
As a pitching coach for the Texas Rangers for 4 years, and I really always thought in some of these blowouts, which we had a lot of them in Texas, a lot of runs scored in Texas, that the first reliever you bring in, even though you're looking for somebody to eat innings, needs to be somebody very effective. And sometimes I would think about bringing in the most effective arm first of the long men, knowing that if I can just stem the tide of the momentum of the offensive team trying to catch us, that the next guy coming in doesn't feel quite the pressure. I'd rather go with the better arm at first and then fill in the middle, and then if I need the closer, the setup guy at the end.
Peterson has a long way to track it down, and he can't get it. Kicks off the glove. Alonso will likely end up at third, and that's where he's heading.
Some theorize to bring in the weakest arm or someone who needs work when you've got the biggest lead and you're trying to eat up innings. But right now, the Dodgers just need somebody to stop this momentum. Sergio leaves one up, started him off with a couple of off-speed pitches, had him out in front, throws him the high fastball. Jacques just can't get to it, but that ball was smoked. And that's one of the hardest balls to catch for a center fielder, the one that's directly over your head.
Well, I'll tell you, Jacques Peterson almost came up with an amazing play right there. It was in his glove, at the tip of his glove, and he just couldn't hold on to it.
Derek Norris fouls it back, 0-1. The Padre catcher is 0 for 2. So the Dodgers and the Padres have combined for 7 home runs tonight. 4 for the Dodgers, 3 for San Diego. Third time in history these two teams have done that. First time was in 1990. And the last time it was done, you were in the game. With Nomar walk-off. Ground ball to short. The Dodgers will trade the out for the run. With Norris, fielder's choice. In to score is Alonso. And it's now 10-7. I believe it's 9 years ago with the famous Nomar walk-off.
That long ago, huh?
That's...
Whew. I wonder why I'm in the old timers game.
It's the Legends game.
So we renamed it, right?
Yeah, just so we don't feel bad.
No, just old. Will Middlebrooks fouls it back, 0-1. One of the most improbable games I know I've ever seen. And it was the second week of September. Dodgers and Padres are in a pitch battle. Marty Foster takes one. And it was 9-5. It was 9-5. Nobody out. First place on line, and Marty Foster would rather be in another line of work at the moment. Jeff Kent hits a home run. J.D. Drew hits a home run. And now Middlebrooks. 1 ball, 1 strike. It was John.
And they brought in Trevor Hoffman.
They brought in who started the inning? Big right-hander. Anyway, they bring in Trevor Hoffman. First pitch he throws to Russell Martin. Martin hits one out. Now it's suddenly 9-8. This isn't supposed to happen. And Marlon Anderson comes up. Marlon Anderson hits the home run to tie the score. Now it's 9-9. Padres score a run in the top of the 10th. Was it Lofton led off the inning?
Yes, he did. Yep.
Kenny Lofton leads off the inning with a walk. And this guy to my right, call strike 3 to Middlebrooks. There's 2 out. Oh, look, magic. We've got it. There's Kenny. There's Drew. Martin. And Marlon Anderson. Now there's a kid out in right field. I hope it's still part of this tape. The happiest person up. It's gone. He was the happiest human being I've ever seen. He's jumping up and down. Ties the score. And then you come up and hit that 2-run home run.
And I was the happiest kid out there.
That was about as good as it got. Now with 2 out, Amarista's at bat. Slicing foul and out of play.
Nice catch over there by a fan.
All right, this is one of those self-serving questions, but on the great career that you've had and the great moments that you had, where did that moment rank for you?
Pretty high. One of the greatest games I've been a part of. Just because of everything on the line. Obviously playing against trying to win the division to get to the postseason, and also I just said all the greatness. I mean, the great Trevor Hoffman. He had to hit it off him. He had just great at bats by our team.
John Atkins started the inning.
There you go.
The Atkins died.
So, but it was just a fun game to be a part of.
And you were playing for your hometown team.
Yep.
And Amarista bangs a base hit into right field, and he's on his way to second base. By the way, the final score of that game was 11-10. At the moment now, the Dodgers nurse a 10-7 lead. Aaron Seeley, back with the Dodger organization, won that game. And Rudy Cianez, who changed the pronunciation of his last name weekly. Cianez, Cianez.
Good old Rudy.
Yeah, he took the loss. Corey Spangenberg is the hitter. Pinch hitting. And now it's getting a little too close for comfort for the Dodgers. Spangenberg fouls it back, and it's 0-1.
Rudy had that Bartolo Colon kind of shape body. One big muscle.
I was going to say he's one of the strongest individuals I've ever known. Oh.
And you want him on your side
all the time.
0-1 to Spangenberg, who started at second last night, and Santos misses high and outside, 1-1.
It's funny you say that because, you know, when I hit that home run, I fist pumped right away. I mean, I knew it, and obviously with the game on the line, and I rarely show that type of emotion. Next year we get Rudy, and he's on our team, and I say, hey, Rudy, sorry about that. He's like, no, that was awesome, man. You had to do it. I'm like, I'm glad you feel that way. Don't beat me up.
Now, there's a 1-1. Spangenberg fouls it back. And it's 1-2.
Because I also played with Rudy over there in the Red Sox organization, so I knew Rudy. But yeah,
one of the most exciting games I've ever seen. Certainly the most improbable finish. And it was such an important game in the pennant race. Dodgers and Padres. Now the 1-2. Spangenberg takes low and outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Each team scored 3 in the first tonight. The Dodgers scored 3 in the second. Then the Dodgers scored 4 in the fifth, and now San Diego's back with 4 of their own in the bottom of the sixth. It is 10-7. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Again, we were talking about the Dodgers and their bullpen throwing into the mix. And Scott Baker makes his Dodger debut tomorrow. He pitched well at AAA. Here's a 2-2. Outside and high, 3-2. Will Myers, the top of the order, awaits.
And Will Myers, who has a home run already in this game, would be the tying run coming to the plate.
3-2. Amarista leads from second. Line drive, 1 hop right at Howie Kendrick, and that will end the inning. A big one for the Padres, a costly one for the Dodgers. We go to the 7th. Dodgers 10, San Diego 7. New pitcher for the Padres, Dale Thayer. And we've had a most unexpected kind of a game tonight, as the Dodgers and Padres have combined for 17 runs and 18 hits, and the Dodgers lead by 3. And Dale Thayer making his 8th appearance of the year. So it's going to be a battle of the bullpens. Can the Dodgers stiff arm the Padres away from the finish line? Kendrick, a 2-run home run over the wall in center field in his last at-bat. Takes low and outside from Thayer. 1 ball and no strikes. Thayer is the 4th Padre pitcher of the night, and Kendrick fouls it off the end of the bat. Giants lead the Rockies 4-3. San Francisco hitting at the top of the 9th at Coors Field. Strike to Kendrick, and it's 1-2. Grandal on deck and Crawford to follow, and Kendrick foul up the third baseline. So Kendrick now with 3 home runs and 12 runs batted in. Fouls it back. Howie at 317.
Dodgers need to do something positive. They don't want to just hang on. The game doesn't smell good right now as far as the way the Padres are climbing back in. A couple tack-on runs, an inning where you hit for a while. Next inning when you come out on defense, a 3-up, 3-down inning. Something where you just go, no, this is our game. You guys have come back far enough.
Kendrick on 2-2. Amarisa, it's going to be a tough play. Picks it up and gets it by a step.
Plays like that for San Diego. We talk about the momentum. Even they're making great plays. That's not an easy play for Amarista, and he charges it, especially with Howie getting down the line, and he comes up with a great play.
The last guy we see to stretch like that at first base was Puig, and he came up lame. I didn't want to quickly watch Howie go by the bag, and he was fine.
Grandal 1 for 2, a walk, and a run scored tonight. Kendrick and Justin Turner behind the skipper's back. If you're just joining us, Puig pulled a hamstring last night. Came out in the 6th inning. Did not start tonight. Saw him briefly before the game, asked him how he was doing, and he kind of shook his hand back and forth, mez to say, not so good. Dodgers have not made a decision yet as to whether or not he'll go on the disabled list. But listening to Mattingly talk before the game, it's not an option that's been ruled out. Grandal, boy, some night at first base for Yonder Alonso. That hopper had teeth on it.
There's just some nights when you're watching the opposing team and you're going, don't hit it to that guy, because he is just making everything. And Alonso today is just showing how you play some first base.
He looks like a third baseman over there first.
Oh.
You know, the feet, the arm coming across the field to throw the runner out at third. Ethier, the way he's ranged over there and fed the pitcher.
Alonso and Yasmani Grandal played together in Cincinnati, grew up together in Miami. Came over to the Padres together in the deal that sent Matt Latos to Cincinnati. And there's his old high school buddy. 2 balls and no strikes to Carl Crawford. Carl has doubled in 3 at-bats and knocked in a run. Of course, hit the home run last night. 2 balls and 1 strike. So heading into the 7th inning stretch, the Dodgers lead 10-7. But the strength of the Padre team for a decade or more has been their bullpen. The Dodgers, through the first almost 17 games of the season, one of their strengths has been the bullpen. Bud Black now in his 9th year as the manager of the Padres. They have always trotted out a good bullpen.
Well, you're thinking about the 7th, 8th, and 9th. The Dodger bullpen this year in the 7th inning has an ERA of 2.25. In the 8th inning, 1.69. And in the 9th inning, 5.27. The 9th has been the adventure, but Yimi Garcia was the last to pitch in the 9th last night, and he mowed him down.
Alonso. What a night. Dodgers go down in order. The Padres will have the top of their order in the bottom of the 7th. Dodgers lead by 3.
The 7th inning, you heard Charlie Steiner talk about the fact it's going to be a battle of the bullpens. Juan Nicasio will handle the bottom of the 7th for the Dodgers, and of course the Dodgers bullpen is a little bit in flux considering they don't have the services of their closer Kenley Jansen and Brandon League either, who predominantly threw the 8th inning last year. Kenley Jansen threw a pen today. He hasn't had any setbacks after dealing so far with that left foot surgery. Approximately in the next week he will face live hitters. And then there's a sense that he might be back after a few rehab games, hopefully mid to end of May. Brandon Lee dealing with that shoulder issue. He's right in the middle of his rehab. Of course, in spring training, he needed to shut it down, so he's set back about 2 weeks. They're not anticipating Brandon Lee to be back, guys, until about the beginning of June, basically just throwing on flat ground right now. He's been doing that for about the last 10 days.
And a lot of since the surgery, the surprise surgery on the foot to Kenley Jansen back in January. They have circled about the middle of May for his return, and they still think it's about that time frame. So here is Nicasio. The Dodgers nursing a 10-7 lead. Will Myers has homered in 3 at-bats. 44,454. Another sellout. Nicasio delivers a strike, 0-1. About 1,300 more here tonight than last night. So the resurgent Padres, Bafo box office, and the Dodgers make a double switch. That's Van Slyke in left. Crawford comes out of the game. Nicasio will bat where Crawford left off, which means that Van Slyke will bat ninth or third when the Dodgers hit in the eighth. Now that the bookkeeping has been taken care of, 1-1 to Myers with Solarte on deck, and Nicasio deals a swing and a foul back, and it's 1-2.
The double switch tells you that they'd like to see Juan Nicasio go 2 innings and then turn the ball over to somebody else in the ninth. With Yonder Alonso looming possibly in this inning as a left-hander, if somebody gets on, you might see one of the lefties get up to match up with him.
Myers takes high. Nicasio can muscle it up there. Fastball at 95. His 7th appearance, 2 runs and 7 hits in 7 1/3, 10 strikeouts and 6 walks. Rollins retreating. 1 out. Boy, getting that first out the way the Padres have been coming back here. Big out in the 7th. Solarte began the 4-run rally for the Padres in the 6th with a single to right. Brandon McCarthy, after the home run he gave up to Justin Upton, the second that he would give up to Upton tonight, signaled to the Dodger bench, better come and get me, I'm not feeling well. And so he came out of the game. Santos came in. And now the switch hitting Solarte takes a ball. We have not heard a word as to what's wrong with McCarthy. That's certainly not a good sign when you're asking for the trainer to come out. 2 balls, no strikes to Solarte.
As we get some information on Brandon McCarthy, and if we do find out that it was something that was nagging that finally got to a point where he couldn't compete, that could be the clue for his sporadic control that he had tonight.
Meanwhile, Nicasio falls behind 3-0. Three balls and no strikes. Kemp and Upton are next. Solarte consequently taking all the way. Last year, the Dodgers 12-7 against the Padres and 5-4 here at Petco. They've beaten San Diego 3 out of the first 4 this year. And a call strike to Solarte. With a hop, skip, and a jump, about face, and get back here.
Oro, as a pitcher, what do you think when you see something like that? What goes through your mind as far as your next pitch?
I've got a bigger strike zone to work with right now.
Gotcha.
Pace of play rules, too. He's not supposed to leave the box.
Marty Foster was not pleased by that. He looked at Solarte and said, you get back here.
And Solarte is definitely going to be in swing mode, so if you know the hitter's in swing mode, you can make something look like a strike end up a ball, but with a 3-run lead, you're going to come right after him.
Solarte with a couple of home runs and 9 runs batted in. Marty Foster with that right arm bandaged. He took a foul tip. Popped up. Brandall in foul territory. Now Marty Foster's been banged up by that foul tip. Now the fans are getting on him. Sometimes you just think, you know, should have stayed in bed. Foster in his 16th big league season. He's from Denver. And now Matt Kemp, who has enjoyed facing his old team. In the first now 5 games of the season, Kemp has 9 base hits against the Dodgers. The 0-1. That was a slider. And that has been the out pitch against Kemp pretty much throughout his career, if you're going to get him. Dodgers have the shift on the left side. And did Kemp go around? No, says first base umpire Ryan Blackman.
This is the most drastic shift we've had against Matt Kemp. We started to creep Howie closer to the middle of the field and even on the other side of second base against guys like Greinke and Kershaw. But here against Nicasio, with 2 out, nobody on, they figure Matt is looking to pull and pull.
And yet Peterson is swung toward right center. 2-2. Justin Upton, who's been nothing but misery for the Dodgers tonight, 2 home runs and 5 runs batted in, is on deck. Dodgers 10-7. Count is full. Boy, Nicasio and the Dodgers want to get out of this inning without surrendering a run to kind of stop the San Diego momentum. Dodgers have never trailed in the game and at one point had a 10-3 lead. The Dodger brain trust. It's Lorenzo Bundy in the back. Call strike 3, and Nicasio turns in quite an inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We'll go to the 8th. Dodgers 10-7. Disagreeing with the call from home plate umpire Marty Foster. Thought it was low. Strike zone said it was pretty good. You want to go? You're gone. Glenn Hoffman trying to break it up. Juan Uribe leads off for the Dodgers. As we go to the top of the 8th, it's been a good night for Uribe. His first home run of the year. He's hit the ball to the right side all 3 times. Glide to right, robbed of a hit by Solarte, and then the home run. So Uribe at 256 now, takes high. Uribe the other way.
Waited back for that ball, hit it in the middle of his body so he can supply the power to drive it the other way. High fives all around.
Into the jury box. Thayer, his second inning of relief, delivers a strike. So the Padres make some changes as a result of the Kemp ejection. Alexi Amarista has gone from shortstop to center field. Will Myers has moved from center field toward right. And there's a fly ball. Amarista, shortstop at the beginning of the game. The center fielder here in the 8th makes the catch, and Clint Parmes takes over at shortstop. Jock Peterson coming out. Peterson 1 for 2, hit by a pitch and a run scored tonight. Well, for years, a reputation for the Dodgers and the Padres, pitching and defense. Not a lot of offense. Well, tonight, 17 runs and 18 hits between these two teams. 7 home runs have been hit. The Dodgers, with 4 of them tonight, lead the National League with 25 home runs. The Padres, with 3 home runs tonight, have 19 on the season. This is their 19th game, and for the Dodgers, their 17th. And Justin Upton, he's hit 2 of them.
Well, the teams have overpowered the park. The 2 reputations coming into the game where the ballpark is hard to hit home runs in. The other reputation was both these clubs are currently very good offensively.
Peterson fouls it back. Jock with his hit tonight in 2 at-bats at .292. And an on-base percentage of .444. It actually rained here for about an inning or 2 tonight. Skies have cleared. It's reasonably comfortable now. 44,000 watching it. Peterson fouls it back. First pitch tomorrow at 1:10 will be on the air. Alana, Nomar, and Orlani. My. 4 of us will be here. Here's the 2-2. Pop foul off to the right and out of play. The Dodgers have beaten the Padres in the last 4 season series. And in each of the last 4 years, they've had the better of the Padres here in San Diego. Peterson takes low, and the count is 3-2. And the Dodgers, when they score at least 3 runs here since 2010, are 22-4. And at the moment, they lead 10-7. Peterson works out yet another walk. 14th time he has walked this year. Come on out to Dodger Stadium this Wednesday night for Game 3 of the Dodgers and the Giants. First pitch 7:10. And the first 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a Clayton Kershaw-themed fleece blanket, compliments of security benefit. To be sure you stay warm at the stadium and at home, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. One out, one on. Van Slyke's first at bat of the night. Rollins on deck. Peterson, good speed at first. Not going. Van Slyke Fly ball, short right. In and over is Myers, and he can't get it. Running into the wall, he's all right. Rockies scored 2 in the bottom of the 9th. They've gone to the 10th in Colorado, tied with the Giants at 4. Van Slyke, like everybody on the Dodger bench, having a good year. .412 is his average. 7 out of 17 with a home run and 5 runs batted in. So Van Slyke has 5 runs batted in with 17 at-bats. Guerrero has 12 runs batted in with 19 at-bats. Talk about bang for the buck. John Valentin, the assistant batting coach. Past a diving Barmes in the left. On his way to third without a throw is Jock Peterson. First and third, 1 out.
First of all, good job by Van Slyke driving that ball back up the middle, but I really like the way Jock Peterson was able to go first and third on that ball when it goes to your left fielder. He had a good read, good jump, hustling all the way through. Watch the ground ball, gets a jump, he's reading it, gets by the shortstop, but he did not hesitate. He was going all the way, and you know, this is a big run. If they can get this run in, or you and I were talking about just something right now, you know, different, when it's a little different going later innings, 4 runs up than 3 runs up.
Middlebrooks, even with the grass at third, and Rollins fouls it back, 0-1.
Even bigger for Jimmy Rollins with his confidence. He's struggling a little bit. Tonight he's gotten a base hit in 4 at-bats, but to have that runner on third and to get a sac fly go 1 for 4, you know, get the RBI, that's a lot different than a 1 for 5.
Rollins takes inside.
And there are times when you come up and when you are struggling, where you're looking for something, going, okay, well, now I'm going to have to set my sights difference, which may help you, and you may figure something out in the course of an at-bat like this.
Rollins hitting 185. Fouls it back.
Well, you're trying for less and you end up getting more.
Yeah.
Because you simplify things, and you know, you just let's put this ball in play to the outfield. Let me just barrel it up. You're not trying to get a hit as much as you're just trying to hit it deep enough to get the RBI, and you might find your swing.
Peterson at third, Van Slyke at first. Rollins 154 with runners in scoring position, has to get out of the way.
And those ones Rollins has fouled off, they were up in the zone, because that's what you're looking for. You're looking for something up to try to get in the air.
So Ethier awaits patiently. Rollins with a line drive, caught at second base by Solarte. Costing the Dodgers a run on a brilliant diving catch by Yangervis Solarte.
He got the ball up. Nomar, he did a great job staying on top of this. To hit a ball on a line that's that high a fastball, you got to get your hands above the ball, and Jimmy does that and just spanks the ball. But Solarte makes number 11, wearing a Dodger uniform, feel snake bit.
Well, number 11 came up snake eyes.
Exactly.
Now Ethier, first and third, and 2 out. What a big play that was. Solarte takes high, or rather Ethier takes high and away, 1 ball, no strikes.
And I'm sitting up here with you guys just shaking my head, because I just know how that feels as a hitter when you know you're struggling. You're like, okay, you recognize that this is an important run right now in this type of ball game, feeling the momentum going back and forth. So you want to help your team out, and you get robbed.
Well, there goes the runner. Line drive, base hit into center field. Ethier delivers. In to score is Peterson. Held at third is Van Slyke. The Dodgers score that big 11th run. It's 11-7. What a night for Andre Ethier, knocking in his third run of the evening.
Andre's just been on everything all night, barreling everything up. It doesn't matter if it's down and in. It doesn't matter if it's up in the zone. He's staying through the ball wonderfully, well balanced. Talked about that at the beginning of the game, how well he's been swinging the bat, and it's carried through the entire night.
Here comes Bud Black. And generally when he comes out, he takes his pitcher back with him, which is precisely what he's going to do. Gonzalez coming up, first and third, 2 out, a run in, top of the 8th, and the Dodgers lead at 11-7. Streaming sports service is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. This is Brandon Maurer making his 7th appearance of the year. Opponents hit just a meager 208 against him. And Adrian Gonzalez with a chance to put an exclamation point on this game. Big 2-out hit for Andre Ethier's had quite a night. Ethier with 3 hits, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. Gonzalez tonight is 2 for 4, 3 runs scored, and 3 runs batted in, including his 7th home run of the year. The big shift is on for Gonzalez with runners at the corners. It was in the 2nd inning. Adrian Gonzalez smacked his 7th home run of the year. Now has 18 runs batted in. Hitting a real fine 409. Howie Kendrick on deck. Coming into the game, Gonzalez was 3 for his last 22 and saw his batting average plummet to a mere 403. And he grinds it slowly to the shortstop Barmes with the shift. He throws out Gonzalez, and that will end the inning. But not before the Dodgers come up with a big insurance run. Andre Ethier, 3 hits, 3 RBIs tonight. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Dodgers 11-7. tonight as we go to the bottom of the 8th. 4 home runs for the Dodgers. They've never hit any more than that here at Petco. Brandon McCarthy came out of the game due to injury. We don't know exactly what it is. He can only win it statistically, cannot lose it. Justin Upton has a couple of home runs. And for Upton, he has never had a 3-home run game in his career. And Upton will lead it off in the bottom of the 8th against Juan Nicasio. So Upton, 2 home runs and 5 runs batted in. 5 of the 7 Padre runs. Takes a fastball from Nicasio high, 1 ball, no strikes. Nicasio retired the Padres in order in the 7th inning with 18 pitches. And he delivers a fastball for a strike. 1-1. Boy, that Ethier hit after Rollins had just been robbed of an RBI single with 2 out, giving the Dodgers a big insurance run, leading by 4. Big night for Andre Ethier, filling in for the injured Yasiel Puig. And the wind is blowing from left field toward right. Yonder Alonso on deck, Derek Norris to follow. Nicasio missing high. It's 2-1.
You know what that hit also does for Andre Ethier? It also picks up Jimmy Rollins a little bit. It makes Jimmy, because Jimmy knows he hit that ball well, he's struggling, and you want to do something well, and then you feel like you let your team down, then your teammate picks you up. You're like, all right, now I can go by and say, at least that was a good, positive at-bat for me. Even though it was out, but I swung the bat well.
But you know, also, the other thing I was just thinking about, the Dodgers came in last night having been swept in San Francisco, a couple of walk-off losses, averaging 2 runs a game. They get a great pitching performance out of Greinke last night. Now they're involved in a slugfest with the Padres tonight. They showed the ability to apparently take a punch and respond. They've gotten off the ropes, and it's been a terrific outing tonight. And what a performance by Greinke last night. But a leadoff walk, that's never good in the 8th.
Yeah, the insurance RBI by Ethier made it look like maybe Nicasio could finish this game, and now you really protect the bullpen with a day game tomorrow. Scott Baker starting for the Dodgers. Now it's looking like they're going to have to get some action going on down there.
It's like the birthday boy, J.P. Howell, turning 32 today. Alonso 1 for 3 and a run scored. 18 runs and 20 hits for these 2 teams tonight. And Alonso 1 for 3, the triple, and has just been first class at first base tonight, making several outstanding defensive plays. Big swing, fouls it back, 0-1.
I know we talked about this earlier, talking about this lineup for the Padres, but I'm just looking, these guys, there's so many guys in this lineup that take a healthy hack. I mean, they have power throughout this lineup that they were lacking for so many years.
Yonder Alonso moved to the U.S. from Cuba when he was 10. Went to Coral Gables High School, and so did the Dodger catcher, Yonder Alonso. They would go to the University of Miami together. They'd go to the Cincinnati Reds together. They would come to San Diego together. And then finally, the trade over the offseason. Matt Kemp coming to San Diego, and Yasmani Grandal to the Dodgers. 0-2 to Alonso. 1 home run, 8 runs batted in. And again, at the time, we talked about it last night, at the time the Padres made the trade, sending Matt Latos off to Cincinnati, they would get Andrew Kashner from the Cubs and send Anthony Rizzo to Chicago. The theory being, Dave Roberts standing alongside Bud Black, that Alonso, a line drive hitter, better suited for this ballpark than Rizzo was. They would get an ace in Cashman. And clearly the Cubs are happy with the way that deal worked out. And the Padres have Cashman. And they've got Alonso, who's playing a terrific first base. Keep the ball down. Keep it down. Well, it was up. McCarthy may have gotten away with it.
He got away with a lot right there.
Kendrick. Rollins. Back to first. Got in time. So that's one out. The Dodgers now 5 outs away from a win.
That was a nice play by Howie Kendrick and Jimmy Rollins. It was definitely just a 1-out play with a 4-run lead, but Jimmy Rollins, almost with his quick hands, turns it into a double play. Howie, he's positioned just to make sure he gets one and protect himself, but Howie gives him such a good feed that Jimmy says, you know what, I can take it a flip at it. Almost got him.
It's such a seasoned veteran infield for the Dodgers. Uribe and Rollins and Kendrick and Gonzalez. Now Derek Norris takes outside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. Norris tonight is 0 for 3. Bounce to second, bounce to short, and fly to right. Catcher who is surprisingly fast. Came over from the A's in the offseason. Jesse Hahn, right-handed pitcher, went over there. Last year in Oakland, he hit .270, 10 home runs, 55 runs batted in. Ocasio with a biting slider, and it's 1-2. Will Middlebrooks is on deck. Ocasio's 33rd pitch, missing just outside and high, 2-2. Just the feel inside the ballpark, the run, the RBI by Ethier really took the steam and the starch out of the crowd that was screaming beat LA and all that other stuff. Now they're back on their hands again. And so too are the Padres.
Well, we've stolen the momentum back and really taken some air out of the balloon, like you said, Charlie. And that's part of this game of athletics. It's just confidence and getting on a roll and stopping the trends. That's the key.
2-2. There goes the runner. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Down goes Norris. Alonso goes to second. His second stolen base of the year. There's 2 out. And momentum is such a hard thing to define. You know it, you see it, you feel it, but it's almost impossible to explain.
Yeah, you know, that's where you want those grinders, the kind of lineup that we have now. When we've had those come from behind wins, you can just tell that the team has not given in to the momentum or to the deflating feeling of being down, that they have really concentrated on just going up there and continuing to work the plan and to execute.
Veterans. And then the young one. Will Middlebrooks takes a strike, and it's 0-1.
It's a difference of, as a team, waiting for something to happen or feeling like you're going to be creating something to happen and believing that somebody, that every one of you can create something by doing your job, and that is a big difference. And you can feel that in the dugout.
Middlebrook's 0 for 2 and a walk. Dodgers lead by 4 with 2 out in the bottom of the 8th.
It's that saying that Charlie has used so often about taking small bites.
That's a Joe Torre bite.
Yep. And this team, small bites, you think about, okay, 1 run at a time, maybe get 2. But this team is taking small bites in at bats, in grinding out at bats, in getting the next pitcher to come in and put up a 0 so we can come in the dugout and have another chance at attacking this 1-run lead or this 2-run lead where we're down. And you can just see it in their approach.
1-1 to Middlebrooks. 1-2.
It's the difference between execution thinking and result thinking. Result thinking, you're too far in front of yourself. Execution thinking, you're just thinking about getting in the box, getting your balance, getting the strike, putting a good swing on it. As a pitcher, you're thinking about getting on the rubber, picking up the sign, get the target, and hit it. You're not thinking, oh, if I give up a run, I'm a GOAT. If I get him out here, I'm a hero. You're just thinking about executing what's in front of you.
Nicasio on 1-2. Jimmy Rollins has it, and that ends the inning. Well struck by Middlebrooks. No runs, no hits, a walk and a man left. 2 good innings of relief for Nicasio with ample reason to spot.
To 7 lead. Howie Kendrick up first in this inning. A quick update for you on right-handed starter Brandon McCarthy, who left the game in the 6th inning after serving up a 3-run home run to Justin Upton. He motioned to the dugout to have a trainer come out and take a look at him. We just received the update. Brandon McCarthy has right elbow tightness, guys. That does not sound good.
Never does. So the extent of all that, we don't know. Certainly know a bit more, I would have guessed, by tomorrow. Kendrick, no balls and 2 strikes. Howie, a home run, a 2-run shot in the 5th. Leading off in the 9th. So Nicasio has been solid in his 2 innings. 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, and no hits.
The camera's on Nicasio, but my thoughts are on Brandon McCarthy. That right elbow tightness Alana just reported on, that's not good news.
Takes outside.
Everybody deals with a little pain on the mound every once in a while. Maybe you tweak yourself on a certain pitch, or you have a night where your mechanics are slightly off and you labor. But when you have to come out of a game, that's a different level.
Well, after he released what turned out to be his last pitch of the game, that resulted in a 3-run home run by Justin Upton. As the ball was making its way over the fence in right center, you could see McCarthy shake the arm and then immediately look into the Dodger dugout and said, "I need some help." So that's as much or as little as we know for the moment. Engine Ryu is on the disabled list. Scott Baker, the fabulous Baker boy, is going to make his Dodger debut tomorrow. Kendrick down on strikes, first out of the ninth.
One of the rare swings that you'll see Howie Kendrick make, where he's way out in front and completely misreading where the ball's going to be. He doesn't swing and miss like this very often. And maybe we've seen 3 or 4 swings all year like that.
Yasmani Grandal, 1 ball, no strikes. Grandal 1 for 3, a walk and a run scored tonight. Dodgers looking to go 4-1 over the Padres this season. They beat them 12 out of 19 last year. Nicasio due to bat next. That's not going to happen. So Alex Guerrero is in the on-deck circle.
Well, the early feeling between these two organizations, as far as the Padres making all kinds of moves to say we're going to be an integral part of this National League West, the Dodgers have kind of stepped on their neck so far. I said, not so fast.
Not so fast, young man. And Grandal smacks one into center field. Amarista's not going to get it. And Grandal is on his way to second base. That was a great play by Will Myers backing him up. If that gets past Myers and goes to the wall, Grandal goes to third.
And Amarista disgusted with himself, but what an amazing effort by Amarista, who almost comes up with this. And this ball was smoked to center field. Nice swing by Grandal, but look at this effort by Amarista.
He actually overran it. Looked like he got him in the heel of the glove. He's got the much bigger glove on now that he's playing center field. That's not his shortstop glove. You can see it hanging out on his fingertips and just misses it.
Now Alex Guerrero. The Cuban expat, as is Grandal at second base.
I mean, if he doesn't hit a home run, I mean,
it's
a bad night.
He's in a slump if he doesn't hit a home run.
He has just been unbelievable this early in the season.
9 for 19, 4 home runs, 12 runs batted in, 2 doubles in 19 at-bats.
You're either going to be a genius on Twitter or you're going to have jinxed him and getting killed.
What do you mean? I was just saying if he doesn't, right?
Yeah, I know. But, a lot of people out there think you just jinxed him.
What are you talking about?
He's not pointing and
this guy
calling
over
a shot.
here. Come on. I'm not saying he is.
Meanwhile, it's 3 balls and no strikes. 3-1 to Alex Guerrero with Juan Uribe on deck. Three balls and 1 strike. Takes a walk.
Does that make you feel better? Is that all right?
Yep.
Okay, good.
That's a win.
We're good.
Well, here's Uribe. 1 tonight. 1 for 4, 2-run home run, his first of the year.
But he's back if he keeps this approach, right, Nomar?
Stays the right field, or at least is thinking that way, yes.
Yeah, he looks good.
1 ball, no strikes to Juan Uribe.
And when I look at what he's done. Flown to right field, had a line drive to second base with a great play, a home run to right, and a fly ball to center field.
He's in the correct part of the field.
Going the other way again. Last night, Nomar having a little heart-to-heart with Uribe, all about shoulder placement at the point of impact at the plate. And he dribbles for the third.
Listen, I can't take credit for the way he swung the bat today. I mean, he was talking about it, knowing that, and he recognized it. We were just chatting about hitting, and you know, hopefully, you know, obviously grounds out that one. But one thing, the key thing is, as a hitter, is if you feel you can roll over a ball like that, but as long as you're able to feel what you did and you know in your mind, okay, I know what I did. That's also a positive, because now you start feeling what you're doing wrong, and then you can eventually make adjustments in the middle of an at-bat, from at bat to bat, and in the middle of an at-bat.
Now Jock Peterson with runners at second and third. But it was just fascinating to listen to the two of you chat last night. Talk about the old fly on the wall. Peterson has a hit, a walk, has been hit by a pitch, and scored 2. This kid sees a ton of pitches. Peterson now with 14 walks, 20 strikeouts. And when he puts the ball in play, he's hitting .476. Fourth in the league in walks, fifth in the league in strikeouts. And he takes outside 3-0.
He's beginning to build a pre-shot routine. He gets in there, he looks at the bat, he makes the grip, he takes a breath, and then he gets his waggle. And it all seems to be the same sequence every pitch.
Second and third, 3-0, and he's taking all the way 3-1. The Giants take a 5-4 lead in the top of the 11th. But Joe Panik squeeze bunt scores Nori Aoki. And there's Peterson walking again. Bases are loaded. So Peterson tonight has been to the plate 5 times and has been on base 4 times. Van Slyke coming up. And Darren Balsley is out there talking to Brandon Moore. So Van Slyke came into the game part of a double switch in his first at-bat in the 8th inning. Wood single home a run. And that hurts. Now he's got to convince himself that the foot doesn't hurt as bad as it does. And right on the shin.
That is shin splints times 20. It's ridiculous the pain that is.
And that tends to linger.
Yeah, it doesn't stop throbbing as you step back into the box.
And putting your socks on the day after is no picnic either. Bases are loaded, 2 out.
The wrap that Marty Foster has on his right hand is the wrap that Scott Van Slyke will have on his leg going home tonight to the hotel.
That's the one. Grandal and Guerrero and Peterson, the base runners. Into center field. Amarista is there. And that's going to do it. So we will go to the bottom half of the 9th. Dodgers leading 11-7. Well, the Padres haven't been monkeying around, and neither of the Dodgers as we go to the bottom of the ninth. 18 runs and 21 hits. Those Messrs. Rollins and Uribe having a good time, and Chris Hatcher, the former catcher, is on to close the door in the bottom half of the ninth inning. And we have a Corey Seager update. Well, tonight in Tulsa, he went 3 for 4, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. He's hitting a meager 433.
He's in Double-A?
Not for long. Wow. Alexi Amarista in the bottom of the ninth. 11-7. Hatcher's first pitch. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. Jed Jerko in the on-deck circle to pinch hit. Tomorrow, Scott Baker will make his Dodger debut against Brandon Morrow. And the Dodgers go home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights with the Giants. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Monday night, Madison Bumgarner and Brett Anderson. Battle of lefties. Tuesday night, Ryan Vogelsong and Clayton Kershaw. Wednesday night, Chris Heston and Zach Greinke. The 1-2 high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
This is an outing where Chris Hatcher should really work on his secondary pitches. He's tried to throw a couple of things there with some movement because he's got backed into some corners in some outings so far this year where he's only had 1 pitch, just his fastball. And I know the Dodgers are up by 4 and it's the 9th and you just want to go right after guys, but he needs to use this to bring those pitches along. There's the straight fastball at 95. And he's had some outings where he either can't locate the fastball and doesn't have a secondary pitch to get back into account, or he can locate his fastball, gets ahead, but doesn't have a pitch to put somebody away.
Hatcher is the 4th Dodger pitcher of the night.
Three and 2 with a 4-run lead, not the time to work on it, but anytime he can get in counts where it's earlier in the count, I'd love to see him try and bring his breaking ball along.
Machi goes the final inning in 2/3 as the Giants beat the Rockies 5-4 in 11 at Coors Field. Hatcher angry with himself. The leadoff walk to Amarista in the 9th, and nothing ever good comes out of that.
Well, 2 fastballs he fouled off. It went to a split or a little off-speed pitch there and just didn't command it.
Jed Jerko. .163. The second baseman out of West Virginia. Myers on deck. Solarte to follow. And Hatcher falls behind. 1 ball, no strikes.
Wear and tear on the bullpen is usage, and also when you have to get up. And the Dodgers don't want to have to get somebody up with a day game tomorrow. They just want Chris to have a clean inning where the bullpen just stays pat and sits down there and rests and watch him do the job. You don't want to accumulate guys having to throw to keep protecting the guy that's in the game.
And sometimes you get a little help from the hitter.
Yep.
And after a high fastball.
Myers, Solarte, and Kemp are next. 2-2. A lot of stories out of tonight's game. Most of them pretty good and one not so good. Call strike 3, first out of the bottom of the ninth. Jerko down on strikes. Brandon McCarthy came out of the game.
Well located fastball by Chris Hatcher right there.
McCarthy went 5 innings, 6 runs, 6 hits. Gave up 3 home runs and came out with what was later termed as tightness in the right elbow, which is never a good diagnosis for a pitcher. Will Myers homered to begin the game against McCarthy. But offensively, the Dodgers, Ethier had 3 hits, 3 RBIs, had a home run. Adrian Gonzalez, 2 hits, 3 runs scored, 3 runs batted in, and a home run. Kendrick hit a 2-run home run. Grandal had a couple of hits. Uribe a home run. And Peterson got on base 4 out of 5 plate appearances. Thus the 11 runs and 13 base hits. The Dodgers have left 7 along the way. 1 ball, 1 strike to Myers. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dodgers have never trailed in the game. And Hatcher is now trying to close the door on San Diego. Going to second base is Amarista, so hopes for game-ending double play go up in smoke. So the wild pitch is Amarista to second. Myers out of the box and now back in. Will at 275 in his first year with the Padres. Grandal's going to have to throw down to first base to complete the strikeout. And Amarista inexplicably goes to third, which is fine, but there's 2 out now. There was 0 upside for that move. So 2 out in the ninth. Solarte 1 for 4, a run scored, and made a spectacular defensive play. Robbing Jimmy Rollins of an RBI and a hit in the 8th inning. Dodgers are an out away. The Rockies have lost. So the Dodgers go a game and a half up on Colorado and 2 on San Diego. 11-7 with 2 out. Solarte fouls it off to the left. Chase Headley, the third baseman, went from San Diego to the Yankees for Solarte. Clint Barmas is on deck. That was Kemp's spot till he got thrown out of the game. Kemp took a called third strike to end the 7th inning and end his game after he said some unkind things to home plate umpire Marty Foster. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He either said something personal or that was a quick hook.
On 1 and 2. It gets past Grandal, and in to score is Amarista on the wild pitch. A walk at 2 wild pitches, and the Padres score their 8th run of the game.
There's been a concerted effort by Chris Hatcher and Yasmani Grandal to bring the split finger along in this outing, but he has been erratic with it. He's either left it up or pulled it in the dirt. Tougher on these cold, windy nights to throw that pitch.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Now we'll do it again. Dodgers 11-8, 2 and 2, and 2 out in the 9th. Just inside, 3 and 2. You can hear the wind blowing in. We had some rain earlier in the evening. Solarte on 3 and 2, and that's your ball game. Hatcher finally finishes him off, ends up striking out the side. The Dodgers end up beating the Padres 11-8, 11-13-0. They left 7. San Diego 8 runs, 8 hits, no errors. They left 3. You're looking at the Lexus Player of the Game, Andre Ethier, being congratulated by Jock Peterson. Ethier with a 2-run home run in his first at bat. He would walk and score a run.